Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. Let the world feel pain from now on. Chapter 21. Faced with Sasuke's challenge, Naruto did not refuse. Except for the last time he beat up the three naive ghosts who bullied Hinata, he had never fought seriously. Sasuke was born in the Uchiha family and was taught by his parents and elder brothers. He should be very good in physical skills and is a good opponent. Then, when the battle started, Naruto found that he had overestimated Sasuke. Although Sasuke's actual combat experience is good, his physical fitness and chakra volume without Sharingan are far worse than those of Naruto, who trains hard every day. During the high-intensity physical battle, Sasuke chakra's physical strength quickly bottomed out, but Naruto didn't even breathe. Except for Sasuke, who had the upper hand at the beginning, he was squeezed and beaten by Naruto the whole time. In the end, the battle hit Sasuke with a punch from Naruto, knocking him out and completing the first victory. Although Naruto retreated his last punch, it still made Sasuke retching. Faced with this situation, Sasuke is of course unwilling. He is a genius from the elite Uchiha clan, how could he be defeated by an ordinary civilian child? After resting for a while, he challenged Naruto at Jadu. Of course, the result was the same. In the end, it was Sasuke who was knocked out, and even because Naruto began to apply his usual physical training experience more in actual combat, he lost faster. Sasuke is not a person who gives up easily. Failure makes him more motivated, challenging Naruto again and again. Naruto also had no reason to refuse the sparring. Then, Sasuke was beaten all day. Except for eating and resting to regain strength, I have never stopped. At dusk, the two finished their practice. Today, Naruto did not make grilled fish, but cooked a pot of fish soup with wild vegetables and grilled the 3 hares that he had hit. The two sat by the fire to eat dinner, and one took a rabbit to feast on. At this moment, Naruto was a little dirty, but there was nothing wrong with it, and Sasuke's fair and handsome face became a little ugly at this time, full of miserable appearances of bruising and purple after being beaten. Of course, even if he was beaten like this, Sasuke was not angry with Naruto. To say why, this is also the consequence of his proactive challenge, but his lack of strength. This result stimulated Sasuke's fighting spirit, and then produced a stronger repair action. Although it hurts a bit, I can clearly feel that my physique has improved a lot. Sasuke said to Naruto, who was sitting next to him while eating. The pressure from Naruto stimulated Sasuke's potential, making him more and more flexible in physical combat, and even used many wonderful operations that he would never have thought of. I also feel that I have gained a lot, Naruto replied with a smile. Then, with his eyes rolling, Naruto said again, I heard that your Uchiha clan has very strong shurikens. Tomorrow you will teach me to practice shurikens. In return, I will teach you a practice trick. Good. Sasuke didn't think much, and agreed directly. Today it was just a physical battle. Naruto didn't use Shadow Clone and Wind-style ninjutsu, otherwise he would lose even worse. Obviously they are about the same age, and they are not practicing anything special, but the opponent's overall strength exceeds him by so much, which must have special cultivation skills. Seeing Sasuke's promise, Naruto didn't sell it. After eating, he wiped his hands and began to explain to Sasuke in detail. I don't know if you have noticed that when you were in a physical exercise battle with me, after a failure, after a short break, you recovered your strength and rushed over to challenge me. Hearing what Naruto said, Sasuke thought for a while, as if it was really the case. Then he asked, is there anything wrong with this? Whether it's physique or ninjutsu, or battle experience, it's not all the practice and actual combat of Vice Admiral. It turns into the body's instinct, so the strength can get promoted. Facts have also proved that this truth is correct, and both your and my physical skills have been improved in this process. Quote, this principle was taught by Sasuke's father Fugaku, and it is also the practice method used by most ninjas. Naruto nodded and said, what you said is not wrong. Diligence is the most basic condition for success. I am not questioning this. What I want to say is that you have not learned to consciously summarize and reflect on a thing, but rely on your subconscious instinct to summarize and reflect, just like the previous physical skills. Although with diligent practice, your physical skills will improve, but if you are in the process of practicing physical skills, you can summarize the advantages and disadvantages of your physical skills and find out the physical skills. The essence of exercise. Then make improvements, get rid of the bad things, and save the essence, so that you can achieve the effect of practicing with half the effort. When thinking and summarizing, it seems to waste the time of physical training, but the increased efficiency can completely make up for the time consumed by thinking. This principle can be used not only in the practice of physical exercises, but also in the practice of ninjutsu. Just like this Wind-style great breakthrough, according to professional statistics, except for those who can't practice it at all, it takes a month for the average person in Genin to learn this ninjutsu, and it takes at least 3 ninjutsu talents. Sky. However, I can learn this ninjutsu after carefully thinking about the principles of ninjutsu after practicing it once. This is the result of thinking and summarizing. Quote. While speaking, Naruto closed the seal of Wind-style great breakthrough with a gesture that Sasuke could hardly see, and then spewed a gust of wind into the sky to strengthen the persuasiveness of his words. After a pause, Naruto finally concluded, "Anyway, use your brain more." In addition to innate factors, a large part of IQ is the result of acquired training and learning. At this moment, Sasuke was lost in thought. He remembered how his father had taught himself to practice fire-style great fireball not long ago. When he learned how to use it for the first time in the future, he barely expelled a small flame. As his brother Itachi, it was also the first time to practice, but he could spit out a great fireball that was several meters in diameter at one time. In addition to the talent for practicing ninjutsu, I'm afraid Naruto's thinking and summarizing to find out the essence of ninjutsu is the biggest reason. In Sasuke's understanding, his brother Itachi is indeed a person who likes to think. Analyzing Naruto's words based on what he saw and heard, he felt more and more reasonable, and he began to approve from the bottom of his heart that he should think more about and summarize the essence of things. However, he still doesn't know how to implement this point of view. Facing Sasuke's expectant look, Naruto smiled and uttered 3 words, "Read more." Uchiha Itachi just finished his day at Anbu and walked to the door of his house. Immediately, he saw his younger brother Sasuke, walking from the other direction with a look of contemplation. There are many bruises on his face, which are shot out at first glance. Seeing this, Itachi's eyes narrowed slightly, and a killing intent was brewing in his heart. But in an instant, he regained his smile, and greeted his younger brother who had approached him in a soft voice. "Sasuke, you are back, where did you go to play today?" Seeing his favorite brother, Sasuke instantly put the question he was thinking about and greeted him with a smile. "Brother, listen to me. I met a new friend yesterday. Today I went to practice with him. His physical skills are really good. I want to beat him, but I keep losing." While talking, Sasuke took Itachi and walked into the house. "I'm back." The voices of the 2 brothers sounded in unison. Uchiha Makoto, the 2's mother, poked her head out of the kitchen, with a gentle smile on her beautiful cheeks and said, "Welcome home, Itachi. Sasuke, you guys go wash first, dinner will be ready soon." Quote. "I have already eaten. Brother, Naruto's cooking is delicious." In response, Sasuke continued to chat with his brother about Naruto, until the dinner began. Fugaku Makoto Itachi Sasuke sat around and started eating, without stopping. Listening to Sasuke talking about Naruto, all of them listened quietly, even Fugaku, who was always serious, did not interrupt. Hearing what Sasuke said, Itachi realized that his younger brother had met a friend named Uzumaki Naruto. This friend is not only very strong, will accompany Sasuke to practice, but also cooks deliciously. He also admires Itachi. Today, he also taught Sasuke a practice trick. Uzumaki Naruto, is it Aunt Kushina's child? Itachi thought in his heart, and cast a questioning look at his mother. He had seen Naruto as a baby in the hospital when he was a child and knew that he was the child of his mother's best friend. Unfortunately, he had already died with her husband 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato during the Nine Tails chaos. Makoto understood what the eldest son meant, and nodded affirmatively. Fugaku couldn't help but sigh secretly. Their relationship with the 4th generation family was pretty good, but it was a pity that 4th generation died young. Otherwise, how could their Uchiha clan be excluded to this point? Sasuke didn't notice the secret communication between several relatives. After talking about the practice tips that Naruto and he had said, Sasuke smiled and asked his brother, "Brother, do you also learn ninjutsu quickly by thinking and summarizing?" Quote. Facing the look in Sasuke's expectation, Itachi smiled dumbly. That's right, but I just did it subconsciously before, but there is no such a comprehensive theory as Naruto summarized. Sasuke couldn't help but laughed happily after getting his brother's affirmation. The next day, Sasuke had breakfast and was stopped by his mother Makoto before leaving the house. Makoto handed him a big bento box, and then smiled softly and said, Sasuke, take this to eat with Naruto, but you can't always be taken care of by your friends, be careful on the way. Sasuke didn't think much about it, and responded, and took the lunchbox and ran out of the house to find Naruto. The two of them practiced until noon. When they had lunch, they opened the bento box given by Makoto. They were surprised to find that the bento contained sushi, beef, salmon, and other luxurious ingredients made of luxurious ingredients. And the portion is plenty, enough for lunch and dinner for 2 people plus supper. Wow, it's so rich, Sasuke, your mother is so nice. Naruto couldn't help but sigh when he looked at the dishes made from these high-quality ingredients that he hadn't eaten before. That is, my mother is #1 in the world. Come and eat quickly. Don't say I always eat free food. Sasuke didn't think much about it, but thought it was his mother's thank you for not letting him be taken care of by Naruto in vain. Greeting Naruto, the two began to feast on. And Naruto didn't think too much, just sighed that the Sasuke family is really good. However, what Sasuke didn't know was that after he had just left the house, Uchiha Fugaku walked out from behind his wife Makoto, looked at Sasuke's back and side, and said in a low voice, now that the relationship between our family and the village is getting more and more tense, we can't approach Jinchuriki at will, causing misunderstandings among the village leaders. Otherwise, the child who should have adopted Naruto can at least not allow him to lead such a hard life. Quote, had it not been for his son Sasuke, who was still young, Sharingan had not been turned on. As Jinchuriki, Naruto also needs some fetters in the village to make him identify with the village enough. Maybe Sasuke will not be allowed to approach Naruto. Makoto didn't speak, but cried silently. She and Kushina are very good friends. Now her child is in such a situation and should lend a hand. Now she and her child have become good friends, let alone stand by. But in reality, there is often a lot of helplessness. This method can only be used to help that child, at least to allow him to have a good meal occasionally. After this day, Naruto often practiced with Sasuke. Occasionally, when Sasuke learns a new ninjutsu, or when Itachi takes a break, he will not come and will stay with his favorite brother. From Sasuke's mouth, Naruto heard countless stories about Itachi. Occasionally, I will receive some small gifts from Itachi, which are given by Sasuke. Involuntarily, Naruto will also have some curiosity and longing for this character like his brother. It's just that Itachi has been busy, so Naruto has never been able to see it. With new friends besides Kurama, Naruto feels that there is more sunshine in his life. Although still hostile by the people in the village, Naruto is not so sad anymore. Whether a person is good or strong, he will not be liked by everyone. If you can get 1 or 2 confidants in your life, there will be no regrets. This is what Naruto learned from the book and his true feelings. Before he knew it, Naruto had already passed his 6th birthday. This is the first birthday where a friend is accompanied and someone gives him birthday gifts and birthday wishes. On an ordinary night in spring, Naruto, who had just returned home from practice, unexpectedly saw 3rd Hokage sitting at the table, smoking a cigarette and waiting for him. When Naruto came back, he put out his pipe and handed Naruto a letter. Then, he smiled and said, Naruto, you have reached the age to enroll. This is the admission notice of the ninja school. You should report to the school on time according to the time on the notice. Where, you will meet new friends and start a new life. Quote. After receiving the admission letter from 3rd Hokage, Naruto was obviously a little excited. The ninjutsu school is a place where ninja skills are cultivated. Where, Naruto will learn the essential knowledge needed to become a ninja, and can also meet future companions. The most important thing is that he can become an official ninja only after graduating from a ninja school. Grandpa 3rd generation, will Sasuke also go to the ninja school? After reading the admission notice twice, he confirmed that the registration time is tomorrow, and he asked Sarutobi Hiruzen expectantly. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Naruto, who had always been calm, with such an excited expression, and he was also somewhat relieved. Children should look like children. Yearning for school, like studying, caring about my friends, and getting to know more friends, so that I can grow up healthy and happy. Reaching out and touching Naruto's head, Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled and stood up and said, Sasuke will also go, then I'll leave. Little Naruto, go to bed early. Remember to report to the ninja school before 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Naruto nodded excitedly, then quickly ran to take a shower, then lay on the bed and closed his eyes and started to sleep. After falling asleep, Naruto entered the sealed space. Kurama, I can go to the ninja school tomorrow. Tenten stays in Konoha village. You are also very bored. When I graduate and become an official ninja, I will take you to the entire ninja world to see. Naruto said excitedly when he saw the cute orange-skinned Nine-Tails little fox on the sofa watching the show. Kurama obviously didn't understand Naruto's excitement. Kurama can see how hard he has been practicing as a Jinchuriki kid over the years. Even if he didn't borrow his own power, Naruto's strength surpassed Genin's level, and his master Nine-Tails, who has lived for thousands of years, gave instructions on his practice. Why is it so excited to enter a ninja school to train Genin? Moreover, he was very comfortable in this sealed space, not bored at all, and didn't want to see the tired scenery in the ninja world. While watching TV, he casually said, "Oh, I see." This perfunctory look made Naruto extremely upset. When this was a turning point in his life, his reaction was so cold. Glancing at the Pokemon being played on the TV, Pikachu is following Xiaoji in a battle against another Pokemon trainer. It should be a game. Naruto rolled his eyes, sat down next to Kurama, stretched out a handful of fox fur, attracted a little attention from the other person, and then smiled and asked, I remember your memory is very good. Kurama is not interested in Naruto entering the ninja school, but if Naruto praises him, then he will be excited. When I paused the TV, Kurama didn't mind Naruto's wiping behavior just now. He turned and smiled and said, the old man has the ability to remember things that happened thousands of years ago. If I want to remember, I can definitely recall them. Quote. Naruto applauded and praised Kurama for this ability. A smile appeared on the face and said, then you have noticed that this Pokemon will end in 2 more episodes, and this Pokemon is the last film and television work in the film library. Kurama has a very good habit of watching dramas. Whether it is anime, a movie, a TV series, or even a funny video, he is never picky about eating. After playing in order, he has been quiet from the beginning to the end. After the master remote control, Kurama used the pause button the most, and that was the reason why he had to play games with Naruto occasionally. Therefore, although the content in this movie library is very rich, Kurama has watched it continuously for more than a year, and there is not much content left in it that has not been watched. At this moment, Kurama already felt a little bad. Did you notice? This video library hasn't been updated since I got it. Seeing the bad expression on Kurama's face, Naruto knew he already wanted to understand. After Kurama has finished watching the content in the movie library, if Naruto doesn't update the movie library, he can only watch the content he has watched before. It just so happens that Kurama has a good memory. Basically a little introduction can remind him of the content of the whole show. This made him lose the fun of ordinary people watching TV dramas and discovering that they had missed out on details that they hadn't paid attention to before. And the remaining games that have not been played will not last long. For Kurama, who has become accustomed to watching TV shows and playing games, it is absolutely intolerable to watch TV shows and play games. As the saying goes, it is easy to change from frugality to luxury, and it is difficult to change from luxury to frugality. In an instant, Kurama's expression became softer, and his voice was softer than ever. Naruto, congratulations on enrolling. Naruto smiled and narrowed his eyes, thank you. Then, he opened his arms to Kurama. He understands in seconds. I know that this kid has always wanted to use himself as a pillow, but Kurama has never been able to put it down. His grandpa Nine-Tails was actually played by a human kid at will. What a decent way. Only now, people have to bow their heads under the eaves. After thinking about it for less than half a second, Ninehorns put aside the sense of shame. The chakra incarnation, which was about the same height as Naruto, shrank by half and became petite and exquisite, and then jumped into Naruto's arms. Naruto pushed the little fox in his arms. Ultimate's touch made him smile happily. On the contrary, Kurama was extremely upset. Hurry up, kid, go and update my video library. I will hug you from now on and not kick me. Good. After a while, before Kurama's patience reached the limit, Naruto went to the study space and copied the contents of the film library he had recently obtained, enough for Kurama to watch for a month. This is also Naruto's measure to prevent him from turning back, so as not to make too much at once and Kurama has a bad attitude. At the same time, Naruto brought a new game console over to play with Kurama. Let's play this game of Glory of Kings. The League of Legends we played before took too long to play in a training break. Glory of Kings played for about 10 minutes in a game, which is just right. You hurry up and learn. Next time I practice, I can start playing together. Starting from this Bronze Man machine, our goal is to challenge the King Man machine. Naruto excitedly stuffed the game console into Kurama's hands, and then turned on the other one by himself. Hey, Kurama, why are you so interested in female foxes? I remember you used to play Ari in League of Legends, and King of Glory specifically to play Daji. Bengwai Shuiyuan to you like Yae Sakura the most, and 3 months ago, you dragged me to chat with the fox demon little matchmaker. Yes, isn't it because Chun-Shin has been lonely for too long? After playing a few games, Naruto had doubts. The old man is a tailed beast, a combination of chakra, no gender, and he won't be impatient. Kurama replied a little uncomfortably. Wait, then you think it is similar to Daji, Yae Sakura, to Shanhonghong? This kind of beautiful girl with fox ears and foxtail is very beautiful, want to be like this. As soon as this sentence was uttered, Naruto thought of a scene in which Kurama, with a coffee-skinned image of Daji's maid, said to himself with a strong baritone, please tell Daji as much as you like. After thinking about it, Naruto shivered all over. Then he subconsciously threw the little fox in his arms aside. Roaring, a fox with orange legs, Geo, instantly appeared in Naruto's field of vision. Then, his eyes went dark and he fainted. After Naruto lost consciousness, the 2 shadow clones he left in the learning space to study also disappeared. After a long absence, Naruto didn't think about anything, and took a good night's sleep. Kurama picked Naruto back, covered him with a blanket, and a soft smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Good night, Naruto. Comb my hair like 4th generation, put on a handsome shirt, and later go to school will be more handsome than expected. Naruto hummed wildly about the years he had adapted, and looked in the mirror to sort out his hairstyle. Early in the morning, the sleeping sweet Naruto was awakened by Kurama. Then, he began to make the final preparations before going to the ninja school. After eating breakfast and preparing lunch for lunch, Naruto took a good bath and took out new clothes that he had never been willing to wear after buying. The teenager in the mirror is wearing a white slim-fit long-sleeved shirt and a pair of black leisure trousers. He has a long and short blonde hair, 2 strands of bangs hanging on both sides of his cheeks. On the fairly exquisite facial features, there is the mark of 6 paths like a cat's whiskers. It's just that this doesn't affect the handsomeness of the boy, and coupled with the calm expression on his face all the time, it gives people a sense of wisdom far beyond his age. Kurama, you have a foresight, I heard you say. According to Yin Yanyan 4th generation, this hairstyle looks pretty good with me. Fortunately, I learned the knowledge of fashion etiquette and aesthetics by myself, otherwise I really do it. Won't come out. As expected, I am really handsome. Naruto looked in the mirror for a while, then nodded in satisfaction. Kurama in the sealed space listened to Naruto's narcissism and curled his lips, but said nothing. From a human point of view, the well-dressed Naruto is indeed like a father. HMPH, 4th generation, as you hoped, your son and I have become mutual support partners, now you should be satisfied. Looking at his own Jinchuriki named Naruto, Kurama couldn't help but snorted. Although he likes Naruto, he still has no affection for other humans. Seeing that it was getting late, Naruto put the bento in the orange school bag given to him by 3rd Hokage, and then left the house through the window one by one and ran towards the ninja school in the center of the village. The rare daytime appearance, Naruto attracted the attention of many villagers' kindness. Although Naruto rarely appears in front of people as the rumored 9-tails demon fox, the signature 6 paths beard mark on his face is an unforgettable feature. Especially when Naruto arrived at the gate of the ninja school, he looked at Naruto's kindness more. At this moment, many parents in the school brought their children to sign up. When they saw Naruto coming, they all looked cold, and then pointed Naruto's direction, telling their children not to approach this dangerous monster. No matter what Naruto dresses up, he is just a demon fox in their eyes. Naruto has long been accustomed to these gazes. Passing through the crowd blindly, walked straight to the registration point and handed the admission notice with his personal information to the two Chunin teachers in charge of registration. Then, in the cold gaze of the other party, he took the sorting information handed back by the other party. Bowing slightly to show politeness, Naruto took the note and walked towards his class. By this time, it was late, and many students had already arrived at the school. When Naruto opened the door and walked into his classroom, he saw that the empty seats were almost filled. When he came in, he immediately received the attention of almost everyone in the classroom. There was even a cry of exclamation that the girl deliberately lowered. "It's Naruto-kun. Wow, is this handsome blonde guy also our classmate? This blonde classmate and Sasuke-kun from the Uchiha clan are very handsome, and each has its own merits. So handsome. Although I like Sasuke-kun very much, this handsome blonde guy is also very handsome. Who should I choose?" Listening to these voices, Naruto's slightly depressed mood instantly improved a lot. In this school, not everyone is like those disgusting adults. At least the classmates in this class are pretty good, and they didn't look at him with any kind of strange eyes. Let's just say, I'm still very handsome when I've been well dressed, isn't there a girl cheering for me? Naruto muttered to himself, and glanced at the voice just now. I saw the Byakugan girl with short lilac hair who called her name just now, and the blonde girl who praised herself as handsome, the Sakura girl. And, the pretty Uchiha boy who was sitting by the window looking out in a daze with a cold look. A gentle smile appeared on the corner of Naruto's mouth, and said hello to her classmates who were about to study together. "Oh, hello everyone." Then, his eyes met Sasuke, who turned around, and he walked a few steps to sit next to him, and also smiled and greeted, "Sasuke, early." Sasuke has long been annoyed by these nympho classmates. Seeing Naruto arrive at this moment, as if seeing a savior, greeted him, "Morning, Naruto, you're here late enough. Clean up." Naruto pointed to his new hairstyle. Sasuke nodded clearly, and then told Naruto about his parents and brother who had sent him to school before. Unfortunately, Naruto came too late, otherwise he would have a chance to meet them. They all like Naruto and want to see him. If they are not busy all the time, they would also like to invite Naruto to be a guest at home if they have the opportunity. Naruto smiled and listened. The Byakugan girl not far away looked at Naruto's smiling sunny face, her cheeks flushed, and she thought about how to say hello to Naruto-kun for a while. The blonde girl is the two girls with good girlfriend Sakura, looking at the harmonious atmosphere of Naruto and Sasuke, thinking about which one is more handsome from the beginning, and which one to choose. When it's time to float, or just bring the two people together, and then watch happily next to them. Fortunately, the arrival of the teacher interrupted the strange thoughts of these two nympho girls who did not know which dimension they had drifted into. Ahem, hello everyone, I am Iruka, your future teacher. Two coughs attracted everyone's attention. Then, everyone saw a pineapple head with a horizontal scar on the face standing on the podium, smiling at all the students in the classroom. However, when his eyes passed Naruto, his eyes were a bit complicated. He had no extra words, and wrote his name on the blackboard. Yumino Iruka. Then next, please come to the stage to introduce yourself, your name, hobbies, things you hate, and what you want to do in the future. After Iruka smiled and said, she stepped aside, and the students in the class started to introduce themselves. Yamanaka Ino. I like flowers, I hate them, I want to do it in the future. Haruno Sakura. Like, hate. Nara Shikamaru. Likes quiet, hates trouble, and wants to live a leisurely life all the time. Akamichi Choji. I like yakiniku, but I hate it when I finish eating potato chips. I want to have a yakiniku that I can't finish. One by one classmates went up to introduce themselves, and soon it was Naruto's turn. Under the gaze of the students, Naruto stepped onto the podium step by step. In the class, many girls looked at Naruto with expectant eyes, looked at the handsome blonde boy, and looked forward to his self-introduction. On the side, Iruka is also looking at this student who has stepped onto the podium with a mixed emotion. It was the nine-tails demon fox that was sealed in the student's body and killed Iruka's parents. Although he knew clearly in his heart that Naruto and the demon fox could not be equated, he could not help the hatred that came out of his heart. This uncontrollable emotion made Iruka not know what kind of attitude he should face Naruto. In Hokage's office, many people were watching the scene in the classroom through a live broadcast of a crystal ball. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, Advisory Elders Uchiha Kaharu, Mitokado Homura, Shimura Danzo. The four masters, who hold the highest authority in Konoha village, are also watching the young man who walked onto the podium, looking forward to his speech. As the strongest tail beast in Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Naruto is a lonely and precocious person in the eyes of these seniors. No one knows what he is thinking under his calm expression. The self-introduction at the entrance ceremony right now is a good opportunity to evaluate Naruto's psychology. Everyone hopes that Naruto can become a Konoha shinobi with the will to fire, and at the very least, he will not go to extremes. From when the first classmate introduced himself, Naruto began to think seriously about what he would do in the future. And now, when it was his turn to introduce himself, Naruto had a certain answer in his mind. Hello everyone, my name is Uzumaki Naruto, I like practice and cooking, and I hate the angry look of the adults in the village. The thing I want to do most in the future is to visit various places in the ninja world, see the local customs, get to know the world I live in, and I also like to make friends very much. I hope I can get along well with everyone in the future. After speaking, Naruto bowed slightly, and then walked off the stage. So handsome. As he walked back to his seat, Naruto could hear the girls sighing one after another. It was also possible to feel the resentful eyes from some male classmates. For these emotions, Naruto could only smile helplessly. After all, it's not his fault to be handsome. Do you feel angry? Iruka chewed the word in his mouth and sighed. Isn't he irritating? It's just that he hasn't been able to restrain himself for the time being. Hope that the passage of time can change all of this. In Hokage's office, the crystal ball no longer displays the screen, so there is no need to watch it later. The crowd was silent for a while, and finally the white-haired old lady named Uchiha Kaharu took the lead to speak. This child does not have the will to fire in his body, but there is darkness in his heart, and he has a lot of resentment towards the people in the village. The elderly man with glasses, Mitokado Homura, added, but the character is not bad. I just want to stay away from these people who don't want to look at him, and don't have any extreme thoughts. I said earlier that we should give Jinchuriki to our roots, and then perform the brainwashing education after the curse. Nine Tails Jinchuriki is such an important thing, how can I let it go in the village at will? Shimura Danzo, a gloomy old man with a bandage tied to one eye and one hand and a cane in his hand, snorted coldly. Enough, I blame you for your extra effort, revealing the identity of Naruto Jinchuriki, or why is it? Sarutobi Hiruzen murmured, not to mention, he is Minato's child. Naruto will graduate from the ninja school normally, even without the will of fire, she will live as an ordinary Konoha shinobi in Konoha village. Hiruzen, you are too soft-hearted, one day you will regret it, Danzo hummed coldly, then turned angrily and left, obviously very unhappy that his goal was not achieved. Aside Uchiha Kaharu and Mitokado Homura looked at each other, both very helpless. But he didn't stay too much, said goodbye to Sarutobi Hiruzen, and then left. They came here today because Danzo strongly requested and wanted to know what Jinchuriki was thinking. But now that the goal is achieved, Jinchuriki's thinking has not gone to extremes, and they have agreed to Sarutobi Hiruzen as Hokage. Watching several old friends leave, Sarutobi Hiruzen lit the cigarette silently, his eyes diverged, and his thoughts drifted away. After Naruto introduced himself, it was Sasuke who was sitting next to him. This beautiful boy from Uchiha is generally more popular than Naruto. After all, Sasuke's fair skin is more like a beautiful male than healthy light brown skin like Naruto, and naturally it is more popular with girls. I am Uchiha Sasuke and I like to practice, especially with my brother. After a pause, Sasuke said again, there is also the grilled fish made by Naruto. I hate sweets. What I want to do now is to defeat Naruto and become a ninja as powerful as my brother after graduation. On the podium, Sasuke's self-introduction revealed a lot of information. This guy knows Naruto very well, do you know him before? Sasuke, who comes from the elite Uchiha clan, will defeat Naruto as his goal. How strong is he? Maybe it's two rookies pecking at each other, this uncle must be better than them, becoming the first, so that all the girls look at me with admiration. This is the sigh of the boys. Wow, so handsome. In addition to sighing how handsome the girls are, the eyes watching Naruto and Sasuke became more eager. At this moment, they didn't know how many strange words were filled in their brains. At this time, Sasuke finally realized a little helplessness before Naruto. After Sasuke came down, the few remaining classmates introduced themselves, and the classmates in one class are considered to have met initially. After the introduction, Iruka took Naruto and the others to get the textbook. In addition to ninja-related teaching content, there are also contents such as literature, mathematics and history. The ninja school in the Peace Era will not only cultivate qualified genin, but also teach them some common sense of independent living. After the books were distributed, the class officially started in the afternoon. Although there are many famous children from the Konoha family in the class, the first lesson of the ninja school starts with teaching how to refine chakra. The day's course was over before 5 o'clock in the afternoon. After reading the timetable for the first school year, Naruto found that he had already learned the rest except for lurking, trap making and some common sense of ninjas. And these ninja common sense content that Naruto hasn't learned is all knowledge learning, and you can use Shadow Clone to do it for you. After this day, Naruto has never been to school. After school, Naruto did not go home directly. Coming to the woods for daily training, Naruto put his school bag aside. Then he turned his head and smiled and said, "Why have you been following me?" Hinata. The girl's tracking skills are too awkward. Naruto had discovered her existence halfway through, and at first thought it was the same way, but she didn't expect to follow him here. The forest was silent for a few seconds, and then a Byakugan girl with lavender short hair walked out from behind the tree with blushing cheeks. "Naruto-kun, you still remember me?" the girl exclaimed happily. I didn't intend to follow you, I just wanted to say hello to you. I haven't thanked you for helping me last time." Looking at Naruto again, the girl lowered her head shyly, and said expectantly. Then, solemnly bowed to thank you. "Thank you, Naruto-kun." Naruto smiled and waved his hand. While talking, Naruto sat down on the stone bench where he usually rested and greeted Hinata to sit on the opposite side. Seeing this, Hinata seemed to have put down a big rock in her heart. After sitting down, she looked around and curiously asked, "Is this the place where Naruto-kun usually practices?" "Yes, this is where I practice. If you want to find me in the future, you can come here. I should be there all the time except when I go to bed at night." Naruto answered with a smile. Really hard work. Listening to Naruto's words, looking at the many traces left after practice in this training field, the girl couldn't help but sigh. Then he happily said, "Naruto-kun, I have practiced well after that time, and now I am fully master Gentle Fist. Next time I meet those bad boys, I will definitely be able to defeat them easily." "Really, that should have been a lot of effort," Naruto said with a smile, and then quietly listened to Hinata's words about what she had encountered in her practice. From time to time, Naruto would also talk about his usual practice and routine, and the conversation was quite agreeable. Sasuke went home and put his school bag, and walked over here too. Only from a distance, I saw Naruto chatting with a girl with short purple hair. The girl he knew was a Hyuga child in a class, Hyuga Hinata with Byakugan's blood inheritance boundary. The Hyuga family often competes with their Uchiha clan in the village, so Sasuke, who is the Uchiha clan, doesn't have many good feelings about this family. Moreover, although Sasuke is still young, he also knows that making light bulbs is not an ethical thing. With a cold snort, Sasuke decided to practice in the training ground of the Wei nationality today. When chatting, time flies quickly. Before you know it, the sky has gradually darkened. "Hinata, it's almost time to go home." Naruto stopped the topic suddenly and pointed to the sky. It was already dusk, and he didn't care, no one would worry about when he would go home. For Hinata, the family will worry about her. "Ah, Naruto-kun, see you next time." Seeing the sky, Hinata couldn't help exclaiming. Although Hinata felt a little bit unwilling to part with Naruto, but thinking that there was still a lot of time in the future, she got up quickly, bowed slightly and said goodbye, then turned around and ran away in a hurry. Naruto laughed blankly and watched Hinata's back disappear, splitting a lot of shadow clone, and began to practice hard. Today was delayed for a day. During the day, Naruto decided to practice for a while before going to bed to make up for the wasted time. Ninja school opens on the third day. After school, Itachi was busy with tasks and failed to pick Sasuke home. So, Sasuke, the brother-in-law, finally thought of his little friend named Naruto. Naruto didn't talk to him much today. Could it be that the incident of going home with Itachi yesterday annoyed him? Thinking about this, Sasuke followed Naruto out of the school gate to a secluded alley. Just about to say hello to him, Sasuke went to the forest training ground together. Immediately, Sasuke saw Naruto disappear with a bang. Shadow clone. This guy didn't come to school at all today. No wonder he doesn't talk like a shadow clone, to save chakra. Sasuke, who wanted to understand, suddenly puffed up his bun's face. Quickly ran to the training ground. Sasuke asked Naruto angrily, "Shadow clone is such a great usage, you didn't tell me. You made me go to class by myself, and you practice here by yourself." Since Sasuke knew Naruto, his cultivation motivation has been very strong, and the purpose is to surpass him. For this reason, Sasuke also learned Thunder Fire's nature transformation training method, Shadow Clone, and some fire-style ninjutsu from his brother. When I usually use Shadow Clone to assist my practice, I am also doing high-intensity physical exercises. This arduous practice far surpasses that of his peers as to defeat Naruto, and then catch up with his brother and become a ninja as powerful as him. As a result, I didn't expect that my target to defeat would sneak away here. Unfortunately, Sasuke thought Naruto was his best friend, which is too superficial. But you didn't ask. You learned Shadow Clone last year, and you still go to school on your own. I think you like going to school very much. Facing Sasuke's question, Naruto's expression did not change anymore, and he answered calmly. Hearing this, Sasuke's expression stagnated. It seems, it's really like this. It is impossible for people to take the initiative to hold themselves accountable, and Sasuke quickly left it behind about Naruto's failure to tell him that he could use Shadow Clone to go to class. Turning to look at Naruto, who was sitting on the ground, he asked curiously, "You actually sit here in a daze, not practicing?" "It's not in a daze, I'm feeling the power of wind." Naruto raised his hand without receiving any seals, but Sasuke saw that there was a clearly visible air current flowing between Naruto's fingers. Although it was very weak, it was indeed the force of the wind. "Have you practiced the chakra nature transformation of the wind attribute to this point?" Sasuke asked in shock. Being able to transform chakra into wind without resorting to seal is already practicing chakra's nature transformation to a certain level, a proper Jonin level. "Well, I'm trying to transform a large number of wind attributes chakra in an instant, and then use this as a medium to manipulate the airflow around me. After all, the essence of wind is flowing airflow." Although Naruto was talking, he did not relax the control of chakra in his palms. "Then if this can be done, what's the point?" Sasuke asked, vaguely thinking that Naruto might be doing something shocking. "Then I can fly," Naruto said silently. "Let you read more, you don't listen. I don't know that the reason why birds can fly is because they use the flashing wings to form an updraft that lifts the body out of gravity. If people can use chakra to manipulate the airflow, they can naturally do the same thing." Sasuke thinks what Naruto said is very reasonable. If a person can manipulate the airflow, it is indeed possible to fly. After all, there are flying ninjas in the ninja world. And if you can't fly, it can only mean that the cultivator is not yet at home. However, in an instant, he found another blind spot. "Naruto, Tenten is here to practice ninjutsu, don't you have time to read?" "I am ashamed to say me," Sasuke asked. Naruto continued to control the airflow in his hands, and answered without raising his head, "What does Shadow Clone do?" "Since you can go to school, you can naturally go to the library. This is where most civilians get knowledge, Master Uchiha." As the son of the Uchiha patriarch, Sasuke has a wealth of educational resources. If you want to learn anything, you need to say, someone will teach him. There is also a rich collection of books at home, so you don't need to go to a place like a library. After understanding Naruto's teasing, Sasuke became angry this time. Not only did her cheeks bulge, but she also died a flush of embarrassment. Feeling that he couldn't just be regarded as a fool by Naruto, Sasuke distributed a shadow clone and ran to the library. He decided that starting from today, what book Naruto reads in the library, he will read the same book. He believed that sooner or later his wisdom could surpass Naruto, and then he could scold Naruto for being an idiot. But he himself sat down next to Naruto and asked, "I don't have wind attributes. What should I do if I want to fly?" Although he firmly believes that he will be smarter than Naruto in the future, isn't he smarter than him for the time being? Then he has no shame to ask Uncle Sasuke. Faced with this question, Naruto thought about the physics he had learned, and quickly found the answer. "Have you heard of hot air balloons?" Naruto asked. If Sasuke doesn't even know this, he doesn't know how to give him an example. "I know, my brother took me to play," Sasuke replied. His eyes lit up and he had vaguely guessed what Naruto wanted to say. Hot air balloons use high temperature to heat the air inside the balloon, making the air inside the balloon lighter than the outside air, and then generating buoyancy. If you are a fire attribute, you may try to construct a similar principle with fire-style chakra surgery. When Sasuke heard Naruto say this, he instantly thought of himself stupidly holding a hot air balloon floating in the air. After comparing Naruto's manipulation of the airflow with the unrestrained appearance of Yufang, he decisively shook his head and rejected this idea, and then asked expectantly, "Is there a way for lightning style to fly?" Naruto looked at Sasuke with a look of expectation, wondering what weird place his thoughts had turned into at that moment. But he still answered his question. In nature, the generation of lightning is related to the change of the magnetic field. On the other hand, you can also use the power of lightning to generate a magnetic field, and then use this magnetic field to offset the influence of gravity on you. Sand Shinobi's fourth Cage possesses the Blood Legacy Limit Magnet style, which can fly with Aventurous Gold, while the third Tsuchikage can use the light and heavy rock technique to reduce its weight and fly. In principle, they all gain the ability to fly through the use of chakra to counteract gravity. If you can use lightning style to do similar things, then naturally you can also do the same things. Maybe you can also practice magnet style and gain new blood inheritance limits besides Sharingan. But I don't have the thunder attribute chakra. If you want to do this, you can only rely on yourself. Quote, "The more I listened, the brighter Sasuke felt. His elder brother Itachi Tenten was praised by his father, and no matter what he did, he was taken for granted by his elder brother, and it was a deterioration of his elder brother, so if he could develop the ability to fly. He developed a new bloodline limit that his older brother like magnet style could not comprehend. That way, even if his father Fugaku is harsh, he must be taken a high look." At the thought of the beautiful picture that her father had acknowledged, Sasuke couldn't help feeling very motivated. "I have decided to develop flying capabilities with lightning style, and even develop a new bloodline limit, then what should I do?" Sasuke looked at Naruto with blazing eyes. More importantly, it must not be left far behind by Naruto. You first find a scholar who understands physics, especially electromagnetics, and ask him or her about the relationship between lightning and magnetic fields in detail, so that you know which direction to go for. After a pause, Naruto said again, "Oh, also pay attention to improving chakra's control ability, so that you can use it successfully after you understand the principle." "Okay, I'll go to study right away." Sasuke nodded, and then ran back home in a hurry. How to improve chakra's control ability, his family or ninjas? The answer to this question is not difficult to solve. But when it comes to physics, these ninjas are good at using some physical phenomena to kill people, but when it comes to studying the nature of physics, they are not good at it. But Sasuke believes that his omnipotent father and brother will definitely help him find professional scholars who understand electromagnetics. Naruto saw that Sasuke had left and entered the sealed space. He took the little fox watching TV into his arms, and then curiously asked, "Kurama, what did you mean by improving chakra's control ability you just told me?" Being held by Naruto, Kurama twisted his body uncomfortably, but didn't kick Naruto away. After all, this was something he had promised Naruto in order to update the movie library. "Your idea of creating flying ninjutsu is still very feasible, but the practice of trying to manipulate the airflow is very inefficient. If you want to achieve the level of flying, you need to control chakra to the point where you can use your fingers. The treading and tree climbing you did before is the practice to improve chakra's control ability. There is also the practice of cutting leaves, which is also an advanced version. And now, you still need to continue to strengthen your cultivation in this area. You are a chakra with the wind attribute. Let me tell you a few simpler methods. Kurama stopped watching the drama at this moment, and his expression turned serious into 9 teachers. He taught Naruto more than a dozen ways to improve chakra's control ability, ranging from simple to difficult. From the simplest, chakra is used to trim branches of trees in the forest, chakra is used to peel the fruits to be eaten daily, and chakra, which is the wind attribute, is used instead of kitchen knives to handle the food for dinner. What is more difficult is to use one's own wind attribute chakra nature transformation to cut the large units such as trees and waterfalls in an instant. If Naruto practiced according to these methods taught by Teacher 9, he should be able to gain the ability to control the air flow. After this day, the content of Naruto's practice has undergone some subtle changes. Except for the main body still undergoing high-intensity physical training, all the clones have gone to work as garden workers. As a result, the wildly growing plants in this forest ushered in the first manual intervention. Many messy branches were cut from the trees without any use of tools. All are done by Naruto's shadow clone using nature transformation, the sharp wind attribute chakra produced. At the beginning, Naruto's wind attribute chakra output was insufficient in an instant, and in many cases it was impossible to cut off the branches of the tree at once. With the passage of time, Naruto has been able to cut it off all at once. After this step, Naruto began to perform fine control, striving to be able to judge the chakra required for cutting at a glance, without wasting a single bit. In the life and death battle with the powerful enemy, perhaps this little bit of chakra saved has become the straw that ultimately crushes the balance of victory. This is the meaning of the practice of precisely controlling every minute of chakra. Such high-intensity practice is very tiring, and every time the shadow clone is released is a disaster for Naruto, forcing him to enter the learning space and hang up to digest the returned memories. But there is no doubt that the results he received are also very gratifying, and chakra's control ability is improving at an extremely alarming rate. After a year, Naruto completely repaired the large forest that he used as a training ground. It was also during this period of time that Naruto was engrossed from the beginning and could only control the slightest airflow between his fingers. Now, as long as his mind moves, he can blow a wind of flying sand and rocks around his body. According to the rating standards, there must be a level of 5 wind power. If this progress is continued, it won't take long for him to fully ride the wind and skyrocket for 9 days. It was also at this time that Naruto's practice entered the second stage. A team of 50-man shadow clone was sent by Naruto to a waterfall not far from his training ground to cut the waterfall and cut the flow of the high-end chakra nature transformation practice. And the other team of 50 people started carving operations. The branches that were cut by Naruto were not wasted, and they all became Naruto's practice materials at this moment. Segments of branches were cut off, and then Naruto began to use these materials to carve them as they wanted to carve. At the moment, it is of course oneself as the target of practice. Naruto's purpose is to use his precisely controlled wind attribute chakra as a carving knife to carve his own scaled-down statue, which is a difficult technical job. For this reason, Naruto has also studied carving-related knowledge in the learning space. And the result of this initial practice was naturally a failure, creating piles of rubbish that couldn't bear to look directly at it. And this garbage is not wasted, it has become the practice material for Sasuke, who practiced with Naruto. After 1 year of practice, Sasuke's strength has also improved a lot, and he has already upgraded from abusing leaves to abusing trees. These scraps left over from Naruto's practice were used by him to cultivate his own chakra attribute changes. Then after the end of the day's practice, Naruto got a lot of good quality charcoal. Some of them are used by Naruto for cooking, and more are sold as commodities. Although Naruto's face would be rejected for selling things, and even if someone accepts it, it is likely to cheat him on the price, but fortunately, the existence of Sasuke, the second youngest member of the Uchiha family, avoids this trouble. This also gave Naruto an extra income, which completely solved the funding gap for his part of the food. After that, although Naruto's appetite increased due to high-intensity practice. There's more. Sasuke, who has never practiced cooking and only eats with his mouth open, Naruto has never worried about the cost of food. Occasionally, the two have spare money to eat a haute cuisine. For this kind of life, Naruto doesn't feel hard, just feels fulfilled. Sasuke, who refuses to admit defeat, has never thought of giving up. His goal is to surpass Naruto from beginning to end. During cultivation, time flies quickly. Before you know it, it's near dusk again. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, good afternoon. A soft voice sounded. Then, Naruto saw a Byakugan girl wearing a white dress and carrying a lunchbox walking out of the forest with a soft smile on her face. Hinata, good afternoon. Naruto greeted him with a smile. In more than a year, the girl's hair has grown a lot, reaching the level of a shawl, which makes her look more gentle and beautiful. In addition to changes in appearance, girls are also very hardworking in practice. Since knowing that both Naruto and Sasuke used Shadow Clone to go to class, she deliberately asked her father to learn Shadow Clone. When she let the clone go to class, she practiced under the strict guidance of her father. She always remembered that winter day. Naruto-kun, who appeared in front of her like a hero and rescued her from the three bad boys, expected her. He hopes that she can become a strong man. So after that, she has been working hard to become a strong person as he expected. After getting to know Naruto-kun at the ninja school, he can also appreciate the charm of such a confident and strong self. This is where Hinata can keep moving forward. Good afternoon. When Hinata approached, Sasuke reluctantly said hello. Although he has often seen each other since he met in the ninja school for more than a year, he still has no good feelings about Hinata, the clan eldest from a rival family. I brought wooden fish rice balls and eel ramen, let's eat together. Hinata didn't mind Sasuke's slightly cold attitude, smiled softly, opened the bento box she had brought and placed it on the stone table. After that, Sasuke's favorite katsuobushi rice ball and tomato miso soup were taken out, and Naruto's favorite ramen ikura. Seeing this, Naruto and Sasuke were not polite, picked up the food and began to eat. During the more than a year, Hinata would come to this training ground to visit Naruto after a day of study and practice. Most of the time, he chatted, and occasionally brought some food like this time. Because I am already familiar with it, there is no need to be polite, and it becomes very interesting instead. Hinata would go home to have dinner with his family later, so she watched the two of them eat quietly. Naruto-kun, do you remember my sister Hanabi? Now she has grown up a lot, she is small and cute. Seeing Naruto finished eating, Hinata smiled and gestured. Of course, Hanabi is 2 years old, right? Naruto took the topic naturally and chatted with Hinata. Sasuke on the side felt a bit redundant. After eating quickly, and after a cold snort, he went to the side to continue practicing. You just waste your time for girls, and I will seize this opportunity and gradually surpass you, Naruto. Thinking about this, Sasuke's charcoal-making moves became more vigorous. The moon gradually rose. At this point in time, Hinata had already left. And in the quiet forest, there are still people training sweating like rain. Sasuke, aren't you going home yet? At 8 o'clock in the evening, Naruto stopped practicing on time, and it was almost time to go home to wash and sleep. Before leaving, Naruto cast his curious eyes on the young man sitting on the other side of the training ground who was constantly making charcoal. He didn't know how he was stimulated. At this time in the past, Sasuke had already gone home to have dinner with his family. And even after having eaten with Naruto, Sasuke will not miss the rare time to spend time with his family after dinner time. But today, he has spontaneously practiced here until now. You go first, I'll practice for a while. Sasuke's hands kept moving, continuing to make charcoal. Be careful not to overdraw chakra. It is a good thing to practice hard. Naruto had no reason to dissuade him, and got up and left the training ground with a reminder. Today, Naruto can skillfully use the power of the wind to accelerate himself while traveling. Although the forest where he trained was not a small distance from home, it didn't take long for Naruto to get home soon. Not far from where he lived, Naruto stopped on a roof. As far as I can see, there is a shop on the corner with lights on. The shop is not big, it's just a small bungalow, and the sign has the 4 characters of Eel Ramen. It's still on, let's have a supper and go back. A smile appeared on the corner of Naruto's mouth, and he jumped off the roof and landed in front of the shop, opened the curtain and walked in. Is it Naruto? Is it still the old rules? At the moment, there are no customers in the eel ramen shop. As the boss is sitting behind the counter in a daze, Naruto who walked in attracted the attention of the other party and stood up enthusiastically to greet him. Yes, a large bowl of char siu ramen, no dried bamboo shoots, thank you. Naruto smiled and said her request politely. Good. He slapped his hands and got busy happily. As a chef, there is nothing happier than cooking for guests. Naruto found a place to sit down and watched the enthusiastic chef busy with one hand on his chin. Gradually, Naruto's thoughts drifted to about a year ago. At that time, the ninja school had been in school for a while, although Naruto had never been to a class. Every time he went there was a shadow clone assigned ample chakra. But as time passed, he gradually got acquainted with his classmates and Iruka as a teacher. Listen carefully, whether it is shuriken, physical skills, or knowledge trap skills, these Naruto can be used perfectly and become a well-deserved first in grade. Even Sasuke, the second young master of Uchiha from the elite family, has a grade below Naruto, and only his performance in the shuriken class can match it. To the teachers at the school, Naruto was as polite as possible. Respect for the teacher is a concept that Naruto recognizes. Even if the other person gives him an attitude of anger, like those adults he hates, but as long as he is teaching him knowledge seriously, he has fulfilled his most basic responsibility as a teacher. Then, Naruto will not speak harshly and maintain his etiquette as a student. At most, just don't have in-depth communication. However, this kind of performance has not been praised by people, and it has not improved his situation in school. After those adults heard about these things, they gave Naruto a stronger attitude of disgust. The incarnation of a monster is better than their children, learning how to become a ninja. What if you become more aggressive in the future and use this knowledge to kill people? Affected by them, the children who went to the ninja school were even more isolated from Naruto. Some parents even asked Naruto to get out of school, fearing that he would turn into a monster and hurt their children. It's just that these undercurrents are turbulent, and they are all suppressed by Sarutobi Hiruzen as third Hokage. In this environment, even the children in the same class as Naruto, a large part of them gradually began to alienate Naruto. Only a few children were not affected, and they still get along with Naruto. As a teacher, Iruka, Tenten came into contact with Naruto, a student known as a demon fox, and felt his difficult situation. With a kind-hearted nature, he was finally able to suppress the uncontrolled hatred in his heart and treat this student named Naruto with his own heart. Although Naruto is a genius, he doesn't know much better than the dull he was a child, but they are both the same. They have lost their parents since childhood and know the loneliness of a single person. For the first time, he tried to let go of his prejudices and get in touch with the heart of this student named Naruto. If there is anything you don't understand in your studies, you can ask me, and I can also explain to you what you haven't learned. After school that day, Iruka stopped Naruto who wanted to leave, smiled actively, and released his own kindness. Then, Iruka discovered that Naruto keenly felt his kindness. After that, Naruto will take the initiative to ask Iruka for some questions that he doesn't understand the basics of ninjas. And every time Iruka answers Naruto carefully and meticulously, he will get a sincere gratitude from Naruto. Occasionally, Naruto would bring Iruka some small snacks made by himself as a gift. In this interaction, the teachers and students gradually became familiar with each other. About half a year ago, Naruto, as Shadow Clone, accompanied Iruka to organize teaching props to a very late time. Then, Iruka took the initiative and invited Naruto to dinner. Naruto, the teacher invites you to eat ramen, eel ramen, it's delicious. At that time, Naruto was stunned. For the first time, an adult invited him to dinner instead of casting him a cold and murderous gaze. Although I have become acquainted with Mr. Iruka in the past few months, Naruto still feels like in a dream at this moment. After all, this world is not all dark, but also has the warmth that belongs to his Naruto. The teacher didn't mean anything else, that is, Naruto, you often give me the snacks you make. Teacher, I don't know how to cook, and there is nothing I can give back, so I would like to ask you to have a meal to express my gratitude. Seeing Naruto stunned, Iruka was a little flustered and quickly explained. He also lost his parents when he was young, and since then he has developed a strong character, and he is unwilling to accept the kindness of others. His abrupt invitation may hurt Naruto's self-esteem. At this time, he couldn't help but blame himself. Why didn't he think of this earlier? Ms. Iruka, I'm very happy. I'll see you at a ramen for a while. Naruto understood what Iruka was thinking, interrupted his cranky with a smile, and then released the shadow clone technique. It was also at this time that Iruka knew that she was probably a student who had never attended the class seriously. They were all shadow clones. Involuntarily, Iruka's forehead had some bruises. But in an instant, he laughed again. His students are so good, he should be happy as a teacher. Afterwards, Iruka walked out of school and went to Yule Ramen. As soon as I arrived at the door, I saw Naruto running from the end of the street, sweating profusely and covered in dust. Sorry, Mr. Iruka, I was cultivating just now, so I was a little sloppy. Just when he came here, Naruto explained with a shy smile. Iruka shook her head, did not say anything, greeted Naruto and walked into a ramen. Welcome to guests, what would you like to eat? As the boss, he saw Naruto clearly and recognized him as the kid who was rumored to be a nine-tails demon fox by the people in the village. However, his attitude has not changed in any way, and he still greets enthusiastically. After all, not everyone in this world will anger others. Since then, Naruto has been in love with Yule Ramen. Long waiting, Naruto was interrupted from the memory by the sound of hand beating. Smelling the fragrant ramen, Naruto moved his index finger. Said, I started. Then he began to feast on. On the other side, after Naruto left, Sasuke energized the tree for more than half an hour, but finally stopped. After all, his amount of chakra was not as good as Naruto's monster who didn't know what chakra was exhausted. It's almost time to go home, Sasuke whispered to himself. After that, his physical strength and chakra had bottomed out. He packed his things slightly, and walked towards home with an unhurried pace. Go home and have a good rest. I will practice tomorrow. Although Sasuke's pace is not fast, the distance between this training field and the Uchiha clan is not far. Not long after, Sasuke walked to the gate of the clan estate. Today's clan is a bit quiet. Sasuke was a little strange, but didn't think much about it. After all, this is the clan land of the Uchiha clan. There are many strong guards. It is impossible for anything to go wrong. It should be something gathering at the shrine, right? The clansmen have gathered frequently in the past year or two. This time, it should be the same, right? Sasuke continued to walk towards home. He was already starving. Although he had eaten before, Sasuke decided to eat another supper to replenish his energy before going to bed. It's just that Sasuke didn't notice at this moment. On the telegraph pole behind him, a figure was watching him quietly. Thanks for treatment. After finishing the ramen, Naruto drank the remaining soup in the bowl again, and said contentedly. Naruto, something is wrong. I feel an evil aura, like the power that controlled me almost 8 years ago. This pupil strength is exactly the same, and there are many other Sharingan pupil strengths blooming. As soon as Naruto took out his wallet and paid for the ramen, Kurama's serious voice rang in his ears. His mind sank slightly into the sealed space, and Naruto realized that Kurama hadn't watched the TV, and his eyes were cast in one direction with an extremely solemn expression. That direction is the Uchiha clan land. Naruto followed Kurama's gaze, and his face changed suddenly. In that direction, it is very close to the place where Naruto usually practices, and walking a distance to the side, it is the clan land of the Uchiha clan. Naruto heard Kurama say that the reason why he attacked Konoha 8 years ago was because he was controlled by a mysterious masked man named Mangekyo Sharingan, who had extremely powerful power. This can be determined to be the presence of the enemy, and now it has appeared in Konoha again, in the Uchiha clan land. The Uchiha clan is in danger. I hope Sasuke hasn't returned yet. Naruto did not hesitate to output chakra, which controls the airflow, to the maximum. An extraordinary gust of wind envelops Naruto, making him move towards his training ground at a speed that breaks the limit. Because the speed was too fast, Naruto at this moment had both feet off the ground and entered a state of low-altitude flight. Because the control was too rough, sand and rocks were flying along the way, and the sound of violent wind roared everywhere. Naruto, if you don't see Sasuke on the training ground, I don't recommend you to go to the Uchiha clan land. I told you before that the power of Sharingan restrains me. With my strength, you may not be able to save your friends, and you will trap yourself. I don't want you to die. Quote. Kurama saw Naruto's movements in his eyes, and he seriously advised. For Kurama, Naruto is the only human he has recognized after the death of the Six Paths Old Man for thousands of years, so he hopes that Naruto can accompany him for a while and not die at such a young age. If he can be resurrected when he is dead, then Naruto is really dead when he is dead. You also said that the 8-sign seal in my body is also a kind of protection for you. The existence of the seal prevents you from being controlled by Sharingan so easily. The reason why you were controlled so easily before is because of the seal in Jinchuriki's body weakened. My current strength is not weak, plus the strength you gave me. If you want to use illusion to force the two of us together in one breath, you need at least the pupil power of eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. The pupil power of the masked man should not be so strong. Don't worry, if the situation is dangerous, I will give priority to protecting myself. Then you will help me open the golden body and enter Kurama chakra mode, and I will bomb with tailed beast bomb directly and remotely. Quote. Although Naruto is worried about Sasuke's safety, he has not lost his mind. Listening to Naruto say this, Kurama relaxes a lot. I should learn a new perception ability. Kurama, your malicious perception is very useful, but it's not comprehensive. If you can look far like Byakugan, I won't use this training ground to confirm that Sasuke is there. While on the way, Naruto found a shortcoming in herself and began to think about how to make up for it. After a while, Naruto has reached the place where he usually trains. As expected, Naruto didn't see Sasuke here. Just about to leave, I turned to the area of Uchiha clan land, and the sound of breaking wind rang around. Brushing sound. A dozen Anbu ninjas wearing masks appeared around Naruto and surrounded him. There is a special situation, the whole village is under urgent martial law. You should go home quickly and don't walk around before dawn. One of Anbu, who looked like a squad leader, took a step forward and gave a cold call to Naruto. Due to special circumstances, the number of Anbu who followed Naruto to prevent accidents today reached the level of 4 teams. Originally, they saw that Naruto's daily training was over, and then they planned to go home after eating a bowl of noodles at eel ramen. They were relieved that no accident happened. Unexpectedly, in a blink of an eye, Naruto flew away in the wind. Fortunately, these Anbus reacted quickly and notified their colleagues located near the Uchiha clan land to stop Naruto to prevent Jinchuriki from approaching the Uchiha clan land, causing unpredictable changes. Have you seen my friend Uchiha Sasuke? Naruto asked. He has gone home and is safe now. The Anbu opened his eyes and said nonsense without hesitation. Sasuke has gone home, so it doesn't matter whether it is safe or not. Brush. Another series of breaking wind sounded, and the 4 teams Anbu who had been with Naruto just now took advantage of the time when the two sides were talking, and they also followed up. Suddenly, Anbu, with a total of 32 people, surrounded Naruto in an airtight enclosure. I'm going to find Sasuke, don't try to stop me, you can't stop it. Naruto didn't intend to pester them, and turned to leave. Take it, the squad leader ordered. Suddenly, the 2 Anbus rushed towards Naruto, and more people began to prepare to perform the trapped ninjutsu. I said, you can't stop me. The next moment, Naruto's figure disappeared from everyone's sight. Chapter 31. The sudden disappearance of Naruto shocked all Anbu. In their eyes, although Naruto is Jinchuriki, he is still a child after all. Even with a strong ninja talent, his strength at this age should be very limited. And now, the speed at which this instant bursts out has far exceeded their imagination. Heaven! An Anbu sipped. Then, everyone saw that the disappeared Naruto had jumped into the sky more than 10 meters. Water style. Water turbulence. Earth style. Earth front wall. Earth style. Sky cover technique. The moment they discovered Naruto, several Anbu used Earth-style ninjutsu, and then they saw a wall rising from the ground, surrounding them all. At the same time, there was a huge cuboid of soil that fell from the sky, forming a closed space with the rising earth wall. While this confined space is being formed, there are also several Anbu who are good at water style using the water style ninjutsu, which has powerful impact water but is not very lethal. He wanted to fly Naruto in one fell swoop, and then the ninja of the Nara clan who had been waiting below grabbed him with shadow restraint. In the tense gaze of many Anbu, Naruto's tiny figure was hit by the turbulence of water. However, the results they expected did not appear. Boom! The smoke exploded, and a stand-in wood emerged in place. Naruto's body appeared in the sky further away, floating in the air current. At this moment, he has completed the seal. Shadow clone technique. Wind style. Great breakthrough. The densely packed shadow clone appeared out of thin air, filling all the space above and below ground, with a total of 200 people. At the same time these shadow clone appeared, the action was neatly completed in a very short time, and then the wind that looked amazing but was not lethal was spewed from the air. However, the gathering of so many gusts still produced an extremely amazing effect. With a clicking sound, the confined space formed by earth-style ninjutsu was torn apart almost the moment it was exposed to the strong wind. Ah! A series of screams sounded. Most of the more than 30 Anbus surrounding Naruto were blown by the overwhelming wind almost when they first reacted, and then they made an intimate contact with the surrounding trees and the ground. Although Naruto has no intention of killing anyone, it is inevitable to come to the hospital for a few days. Only a very small part of Anbu reacted extremely fast, and each used their means to avoid this sudden wave of violent winds. It's really exciting. This training ground is not available. The shadow clone was released, and the huge amount of chakra output and the huge amount of information sent back made Naruto's body floating in midair tremble. Glancing at the earth, there is already a mess at the moment, and a large area of trees is broken. I can't tell at all. Here was a training ground that was often used by people before. Just now, the AoE effect was outstanding, and the clearing effect was completed in one go, but the consequences were also obvious. Had it not been for Kurama to send a lot of chakra in time, Naruto might have been exhausted because of the short-term chakra, which caused the chakra that could not maintain the airflow and fell from the sky. It's still too young, so I divided it into shadow clone, and it won't work with so few ninjutsu. Slightly slowing down, Naruto didn't stay much. Ignoring the fat man, one hand swelled up like a puff and tried to grab him. The airflow gushing behind Naruto brought a great impetus, pushing Naruto's figure to quickly fly towards the Uchiha clan. Looking at Naruto's back, the Akamaiki family member withdrew his hand. His expression was a bit complicated. He looked at the surrounding scenes and felt that the rest of Anbu's breath of life was still there. While breathing a sigh of relief, he smiled bitterly and said to the few teammates who had nothing to do with him under the shelter of his tall body, "It's really scary for the next generation." Anbu, who is usually responsible for monitoring and protecting Naruto, has a silent expression. He usually doesn't care about Naruto's hard work. It is only a child who is playing foolishly with his talent. Chakra's nature transformation is so good to practice, but it is not useful if you have more clones. Unexpectedly, it was only now that he discovered that the little ghost who had never been confronted by him already had such a powerful strength. Moreover, it has the ability to fly. Don't froze, save people. The closer he got to the Uchiha clan, the more ninjas Naruto found in the forest. These ninjas should have received the news and tried to intercept Naruto who was coming here. Unfortunately, none of them could fly. At this moment, Naruto, who had turned into an air unit, had nothing to do. Anxious Naruto ignored their intentions and kept urging chakra to speed up. After a while, the Uchiha clan land appeared in Naruto's field of vision. Most of the aura in this area has disappeared, and now there are 3 remaining. One is malicious, 2 are not. The one with malicious intent was the masked man, one was Sasuke, and the other did not know him. However, this man's chakra and Hitomi are very close to Sasuke, and it should be his brother Itachi, whom he often talks about. Itachi also possesses pupil power of the Mangekyo level. It should be the masked man who killed the Uchiha clan, and Itachi arrived in time to protect Sasuke. Quote, "The closer he gets, the clearer Kurama perceives. Although malicious perception cannot directly see the specific picture, it is okay to determine the number of targets and the lives and deaths." Hearing what Kurama said, Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. But he did not relax. As long as Sasuke was still in the clan, it was far from safe. Now he rushed over and joined Itachi, who possessed Mangekyo Sharingan, with Kurama's power, to ensure that the masked man was exempted from the threat. Naruto quickly analyzed in his heart, and quickly flew towards the location of Sasuke and Itachi without hesitation. And the scene I saw next made Naruto couldn't believe his eyes. His best friend Sasuke. At this moment, he was being caught by a teenager whose face was very similar to him. His favorite brother Itachi grabbed his neck and held it in the air. He spoke in an extremely cold and cruel tone, saying extremely cruel words. If you open your eyes, then there are 3 pairs of Mangekyo Sharingan in this world, including me. If this is the case, you have the meaning of life. The current you have no value in being killed. My stupid brother, if you want to kill me, hate me. Hate me. Then, live ugly. Escape. Escape. Try your best to steal your life, and then wait until you have the same eyes as me, then come to me. After talking, let go, like throwing garbage, and throwing Sasuke on the ground. Then, Mangekyo Sharingan, who was as cold and cruel as his voice, with a strong killing intent, looked at Naruto. Oh, is this the friend Naruto you often tell me? In order to make the pain you feel more profound, and to make your desire to become stronger, then I will kill him and let him become your driving force. This is my brother, and I'm the last gentleman to you. The more you go, the more Sasuke feels something is wrong. In the clan, it was too quiet. Even if it is gathering at a shrine, it is something that the adult ninjas of the clan will attend. Children and the elderly, as well as ordinary people in the clan, are not eligible to participate in such things that determine the future of the clan. They will do their own things at home, and there will be a smell of fireworks in the family land. At this moment, there was darkness in the entire clan, and there was no human voice. Suffocating the anxiety in his heart, Sasuke ran back home quickly, and just opened the door. The pungent smell of blood came over his face. In front of him, there was a scene that made Sasuke feel extremely incredible. His father Uchiha Fugaku and mother Uchiha Makoto are lying in a pool of blood at the moment. Even if they did not go up to check, Sasuke can be sure that they have lost the breath of life. And his brother, his favorite brother Itachi. He was holding a butcher knife at the moment, and fresh blood was still dripping on the knife. It was the blood of his and his brother's beloved parents. Is that a lie? Sasuke's eyes widened, shocked and speechless. How could his elder brother do such a thing? Everything in front of him must be his illusion, it must be fake. Boom! A shuriken rubbed Sasuke's cheek and nailed it to the goalpost, and the pain told Sasuke that none of this was an illusion. His favorite brother killed his beloved parents. Ah! Sasuke drew out a handful of karma and threw it at Itachi, yelling like crazy, "Why? Why, Nissan? Why did you kill mom and dad, why?" The boundless anger snapped Sasuke's string of sanity, his eyes turned red unknowingly, and two tomo appeared in it. The power of thunder fire subconsciously emerged from his body and turned into an accelerating power. Almost in an instant, Sasuke crossed the distance between him and Itachi, and his hand pierced at Itachi's brow. Then, he flew back at a faster speed, blew through the gate, flew across the street, and hit the wall before stopping. It's getting stronger, Sasuke, it's great that you can meet friends like Naruto who can inspire each other. Itachi Ruing followed Sasuke. As his body bounced back from the wall, he stretched out his hand to pinch his neck, and then exhaled cruel words in a cold tone. Why? Of course it is to test one's own equipment, in order to gain more powerful strength. The number of Guyu in Sasuke's eyes is increasing, and it has reached 3. He asked angrily. Just for this kind of boring reason, killed mom and dad. Ah, are you still my brother Itachi? Isn't it a demon that confuses Itachi? He kicked it out, forced Itachi to let go, then took out a large amount of Liang pill from the ninja bag and stuffed it into his mouth without hesitation. Fire style. The fire is extinguished. In an instant, when the seal was completed, Sasuke opened his mouth and spit out a sea of flames. These years of hard practice has made him a master of strong ninjutsu that has reached the level of B. And Itachi, who was Sasuke's target, has now come behind Sasuke. Time is running out. He already felt that the familiar chakra, who belonged to Sasuke's friend Naruto, was fast approaching. The breath belonging to third generation and Danzo is also approaching. Tsukuyomi. In the illusion space, Itachi showed Sasuke over and over the process of slaughtering the entire Uchiha clan. This is not a boring reason. Power is very important to me. Only when I have enough power can I do whatever I want and dominate the world. And you, stupid brother, the reason why mom and dad will die is because of your weakness. When the illusion stopped, Sasuke's eyes were dull, and his spirits were a little lost. Itachi pinched his neck again and lifted him up. Naruto drove the strong wind down, and the Bingliang pill in Sasuke's body gradually had an effect. The continuous generation of chakra made Sasuke's mind gradually sober, and then together with Naruto, he heard the real reason why Itachi started to slaughter the Uchiha clan. I also heard the reason why Sasuke was not killed. All this is just to get stronger pupil power. Naruto looked at the Itachi who was walking towards him with a cold expression. Even if you don't believe it anymore, Sasuke called him the gentlest and best brother in history. Even though he couldn't meet his Sasuke friend because of his busy schedule, Sasuke would ask Sasuke to bring him a small gift. Actually, he would do such a frenzied thing. Obviously he has no malice towards himself. It's just that everything you see with your eyes can't be faked. Brush. With the sound of the breaking wind, Itachi had already crossed the distance between him and Naruto, and the sharp long knife slashed towards Naruto with a cold and biting intent to kill. And Naruto seemed to be frightened and stood still. You made a good friend, Sasuke. Boom. The smoke exploded and a piece of stand-in wood was split in half. Although Itachi has realized that this is the body replacement technique, but he hasn't changed his move. Turning around, Itachi saw that his younger brother, who was extremely weak after being hit by Tsukuyomi, was guarded by his friend named Naruto. It was also at this time that several breaking winds sounded. Third Hokage arrived with his immediate staff, Anbu, and they guarded Naruto and Sasuke behind them, separating Itachi's murderous gaze. But after a while, more breaking winds sounded, and more Anbu reached this area. Naruto, so you won't have any beautiful illusions about me. As Sasuke's only friend, become his motivation to avenge me. Itachi glanced at everyone, sneered, and disappeared before everyone without saying anything. Do you want to chase it? Your lord third generation. White-haired Anbu glanced at Naruto, who was guarding Sasuke behind him. Looking at the familiar hairstyle and face, there was a slight wave in his heart, and then he asked for instructions. Third generation waved his hand and said, check around to see if there are any other survivors. Hi. After the surrounding Anbu responded, they dispersed. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at Sasuke, who was already in a coma, and then at Naruto, frowning and teaching seriously. Naruto, you broke into the martial law area at will, I will calculate with you later. If something happens to you, how can I explain to your deceased parents? Quote. Naruto lowered his eyebrows and replied, I know it was wrong, Grandpa third generation. Next time I dare to add a half sentence in my heart. When Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Naruto's appearance, he knew that he hadn't taken it to heart. At this time, he didn't have the mood and time to teach the younger generation. He said, Sasuke is your friend, so you can send him to the hospital. Then you either go home or stay with Sasuke in the hospital, don't run around. Quote. After speaking, he turned to look at Shimao Jonin. Kakashi, look at Naruto. Kakashi was stunned for a moment, then replied, okay. On the other side, Naruto wasn't interested in waiting for him, picked up Sasuke, and flew into the sky while manipulating the airflow. Going in the direction of the hospital. At the hospital, Sasuke has settled down. The Anbu named Kakashi came forward and went through all the formalities. Naruto sat on the edge of the hospital bed, together with Kakashi, guarding Sasuke who was in a coma. Prevent Uchiha Itachi from attacking again with the mysterious masked man. Although Kurama perceives that the masked man and Uchiha Itachi have left Konoha village one after another, there is no guarantee that they will not suddenly come back again. At this time, Naruto, who was quiet, had the intention to sort out what happened tonight. The mysterious masked man with Mangekyo, together with Uchiha Itachi, wiped out the Uchiha clan. According to Itachi, he was to test his ability, so he committed the evil act of massacring the whole clan, and the reason for leaving Sasuke was to wait for him to also turn on Mangekyo's Sharingan and then obtain a stronger pupil force. Kurama has always said that Uchiha Madara has stronger pupil power than ordinary Mangekyo, and the eyes will not lose light. It is called Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, but I don't know how to obtain such pupil power. If you want to obtain the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, you must snatch the eyes of the blood relatives, so that the reason why Itachi did not kill Sasuke can be determined to be true. But, what motive did the mysterious masked man do? He was originally hostile to Konoha, because destroying the Uchiha clan can effectively weaken the overall strength of Konoha village. In addition, Konoha's senior management seems to have known that such a change will happen tonight, so the entire village is under martial law, and I have more Anbu surveillance and protection around me than usual. As far as I know, the relationship between the high-level villagers and the Uchiha clan has always been at odds, and now the conflict has aroused to the point of incompatibility. Is there martial law to prevent it from happening? Then Uchiha Itachi teamed up with the mysterious masked man to slaughter his own relatives. Does it have anything to do with the conflict between Uchiha and the high-level villagers? For a while, Naruto's thoughts were mixed. Combining with some news that he usually observes, Naruto thinks a lot, but the doubts in his heart also become more. In the sealed space, Naruto asked the little fox in his arms. Kurama, your malicious perception is 100% accurate, right? Kurama was completely silent at this moment. Since the mysterious masked man disappeared out of his perception, he has become the house fox who only knows about watching dramas and playing games. At this moment, Kurama, who was watching the drama and watching the show, heard Naruto's question. After pressing the pause, he turned his head and said to Naruto unhappily, "Are you doubting the old man's ability?" "I have never made any mistakes with this ability. As long as it is a thinking unit, I can definitely perceive good and evil. Unless the other person thinks nothing, he is a vegetable without any thought activity." Quote. Listening to Kurama say this, Naruto thought of more for a while. Since Kurama's abilities can't be wrong, you can be sure that Itachi is not malicious towards me and Sasuke. But at that time, what I felt was the powerful killing intent from Itachi, and the attacks he made against me were not fake. The fact that this kind of thinking and practice completely contradicts only shows that Itachi's series of behaviors are suffering. Although I don't know the specific reasons, it is definitely not as simple as it seems on the surface. Because of the persecution of the masked man. So in order to protect Sasuke, he had to make this difficult choice. On the surface, he has to pretend to leave Sasuke just for his Sharingan's cruel appearance. No, it may also be that he really likes Sasuke, and Iwujiwu also has a high affection for me, but he also wants to get stronger pupil power, so he did all the evil things. After all, human beings are such a complex creature. Among the books and movies I have seen, there is no shortage of people who say "I love you" while swinging a butcher knife at a loved one. So, what is the truth? Lifting his head, Naruto looked at the white-haired Jonin who was sitting on the windowsill, holding a book called Intimacy Heaven and watching intently. "Are you called Kakashi?" "Hello, I'm Uzumaki Naruto." Naruto spoke, attracting the attention of white-haired Jonin. Uzumaki whispered. At this time, ever since I saw Naruto, I felt confused. Even though I was reading a book at the moment, Kakashi, who hadn't read a word, was completely certain. The child sitting not far from him is the child of his teacher Namikaze Minato. This made him think about how he was arranged by teacher Namikaze Minato 8 years ago to protect Naruto, who was still in the belly of his wife Uzumaki Kushina as a guard. At that time, he managed to get out of the blow of his father's suicide, but he experienced the death of his teammate Obito. Then, because of an accident, he personally killed Lin, whom Obito had entrusted to protect. A heart that has just felt some warmth, because of this series of blows, it is closed again. But it was Namikaze Minato's arrangement that allowed him to witness the whole process of a small life from conception to birth, and let him once again understand the preciousness of life, and realize that he is not alone. In this world, someone still cares about him after all. But not long after, teacher Namikaze Minato and her teacher Uzumaki Kushina passed away because of the Nine Tails chaos, which made Kakashi, who had just recovered a little bit, once again felt the darkness of this world. He has changed and has lost his passion for life. Become indifferent to everything, as an Anbu machine alive, completing tasks one after another, along with the enemies killed one by one, a mind is constantly falling into the abyss of darkness. Until today, he didn't know that his teacher's child was still alive and did not die on that bloody night with his parents. In Kakashi's numb mind, there seemed to be more color at this moment. "Hello, Naruto, my name is Kakashi, Hitaki Kakashi." Kakashi's cheeks hidden under the mask showed a gentle smile, driving the dead fisheye that was exposed alone, and at this time also became gentle and agile. "Do you know Sasuke's brother Itachi? Uchiha Itachi. He was also Anbu before, and I want to hear what you think of him." Kakashi's gentle expression made Naruto stunned. Another one. After knowing his name, there was no one who looked strangely at him. Without thinking about it, Naruto asked the question he most wanted to know at the moment. Naruto's question interrupted the confusion in Kakashi's heart. Then, he thought of the man named Uchiha Itachi, who used to be his subordinate, and thought of the bits and pieces he used to get along with. He is a very calm, sensible, and talented ninja, and he is also very good at thinking. He has become an Anbu squad leader at a young age. He is meticulous in his tasks and takes good care of his companions. The only drawback is that he is a little reticent and not good at communicating. To be honest, I didn't expect that he would actually do something like slaughter the whole clan. Quote. After a moment of contemplation, Kakashi answered this question from Naruto. "Thank you for the answer." After thanking Naruto, he fell silent. Kakashi's answer did not help him to make a judgment. However, it reminded him how Sasuke would comfort him after waking up. Naruto didn't speak, and the ward fell silent again. Kakashi wants to communicate with Naruto, the teacher's child, and care about his life, but he doesn't know where to start. The long Anbu life has reduced his communication skills. In the end, there was only silence. Before he knew it, Naruto sat in a chair against the wall and fell asleep. After a day of arduous practice, I encountered a series of things. First, I fought with a group of Anbu, and then used the ability to manipulate the airflow overloaded. Naruto's young body could not hold it after all. As a result, Naruto was forced to go offline and entered the learning space. Seeing this, Kakashi's heavy expression softened a lot, and he carried Naruto to the vacant hospital bed on the other side and put it there, and covered him with a quilt. "Good night, Naruto." 3 days later, Sasuke finally woke up from a coma. He pulled out the glucose hanging on his arm, ignored Naruto who had been by his side, jumped off the bed in a hospital uniform, and ran out of the hospital quickly. Toward the Uchiha clan. He looked in a trance, although he remembered what happened 3 days ago, but he couldn't accept the reality. It's just that the Uchiha clan land that has been blocked, and what traces of battle are there, all show that what happened 3 days ago is not Sasuke's illusion. Sasuke wanders around the entire Uchiha clan like a ghost. Woo 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 woo. When Naruto caught up, he saw Sasuke kneeling in front of his house and crying. Looking at him like this, Naruto felt distressed, and patted him on the shoulder as a relief. But the comfort from friends did not make Sasuke feel better, he cried even louder. When Sasuke cried enough, Naruto said, "There are 3 news to tell you, 2 good news and 1 bad news." Sasuke lowered his head, not interested. Seeing this, Naruto added, "2 of these messages have something to do with your brother Itachi. Don't mention that man's name." Naruto's words seemed to light a gunpowder keg. An electric spark flashed across Sasuke's body, and he subconsciously used the thunder attribute to activate the cells, and then his body rushed out, pressing Naruto against the wall next to him, and the other arm locked Naruto's neck horizontally. "I think you need to calm down." The air flow exploded from Naruto, and Sasuke, who was close at hand, flew away. Naruto followed like a shadow and pressed Sasuke's arm back to the ground. The pain of touching the ground on his cheek did not calm Sasuke. Regardless of the risk of dislocating his arm, he forcibly twisted his body and kicked Naruto away. When he stood up, his eyes had turned blood red, and there were 4 black go jades circulating. Sasuke didn't bring a ninja, but this didn't dispel his thoughts of fighting. With one kick, he rushed towards Naruto at a very fast speed, and punched straight to the door. Naruto raised his hand to block, and punched his backhand at the same time, but Sasuke predicted in advance that he raised his foot and kicked Naruto's chest, kicking him away with great force. Then, he punched Naruto who was lying on the ground without hesitation. But he was caught by Naruto who jumped up. "Did you see it? This is the power of Sharingan." I just turned on Sharingan, and I can surpass you who have always been stronger than me. Give up, Naruto. Ha ha ha. Sasuke laughed madly, his hands moving faster and faster. Because of the powerful insight that Sharingan brings, he can fully predict Naruto's movements, allowing him to directly hit Naruto, who has stronger physical skills than him. It's no wonder Uchiha Itachi wants to kill all the people of the tribe. With such power, there is really no need for a tribe, as long as it can obtain stronger pupil power, even if it is against the world. Ha ha ha. As he spoke, Sasuke's expression became more and more crazier, and the movements in his hands became faster and faster. Looking at a friend like this, Naruto was a little uncomfortable. Suddenly losing all the people of his tribe, even his parents were killed by his favorite brother, it is normal to lose control of his emotions. Naruto doesn't know what he will do if he changes places. But now, let him calm down is the most important thing. I said, you need to calm down. Pushing Sasuke back, Naruto took advantage of the gap and wiped his leg. Boom. 2 weights fell from Naruto's legs, making a loud noise when they touched the ground. Then, Naruto, who was hit by Sasuke, suddenly became blurred. After removing the load and manipulating the airflow to accelerate for himself, reducing the resistance between traveling, Naruto's speed has been substantially improved. Boom. Personality correction punch. Sasuke, who was hitting with Naruto just now, was hit by Naruto's punch and made a toothless muffled noise. So fast. Sasuke's Two-Tomo Sharingan has clearly seen Naruto's movements, but his body is completely incompatible with the powerful dynamic vision that Sharingan brings. Immediately afterwards, Naruto had come to the back of Sasuke, who was still in the air, raised his right leg and hit his back with a kick. Before Sasuke came into contact with the ground, causing a second stage of damage, Naruto kicked him back into the sky again. In a very short period of time, a series of muffled sounds of fists and feet hitting the human body became a piece. When Naruto stopped attacking and Sasuke finally fell back to the ground, he had a blue nose and swollen face, multiple bones dislocated, lying on the ground unable to move, and his whole body hurt. Leaving aside the mental damage, this time Naruto beat Sasuke harder than Itachi. However, Naruto's expression was not guilty. He squatted in front of Sasuke, and saw that the blood and guyu in his eyes had faded, and then said coldly, "How is it, have you calmed down?" Sasuke's voice was low, full of confusion. Within a short period of time, his life has undergone tremendous changes, so that his perception of the world before him has been distorted, and his mind is filled with confusion. He didn't know what he was going to do, and he didn't know the meaning of continuing to live. I just said that. There are 3 news to tell you, 2 good news and 1 bad news, 2 of which are related to your brother Itachi. Naruto said calmly while helping Sasuke to straighten the dislocated bones. Go back. The nearest Anbu were all 100 meters away, and their voices were quieter. They would not know what Naruto was talking about. However, to be on the safe side, Naruto manipulated the surrounding airflow to isolate the sound from spreading, reverberating only within a 1-meter diameter space. In order not to be read, he deliberately lowered his head and blocked the sight of those Anbu at Sasuke's head. The word Itachi made Sasuke reluctantly interested in Naruto's words. Sasuke, who calmed down, was not losing his mind because of the existence of this person. However, at this moment, he really has no desire to speak, he just looked at Naruto with questioning eyes. The first news is good news, regarding your future placement. Third Hokage has decided that the village will protect your safety in the future. In addition to inheriting the inheritance of your parents, you can also continue to go to the ninja school and live in the village as a Konoha shinobi in the future. So you don't have to worry about future life problems. The village will take care of you. This is the information that Third Hokage asked me to forward to you. The news Naruto said there were no fluctuations, and Sasuke heard no fluctuations. At this moment, he didn't care what the future would be like. He even had a low desire to live. Regarding this, Naruto was not surprised, and continued with the second news. The second news, related to your brother Itachi, is good news. Your brother Uchiha Itachi is now the culprit of the massacre of the clan. He has become a traitor and fled Konoha. He is wanted by the entire ninja world. This is what the village has done to him. Then I will tell you the conclusion first. I don't think Itachi did not compromise his means because of his pursuit of strength. He did all these evil things because of his difficulties. After hearing Naruto say this, Sasuke finally got excited. The silence and confusion in his eyes dissipated, and a pair of eyes widened, even unconsciously turning on Sharingan. Looking at Naruto, he blurted out, "What you said is true." For Sasuke, his favorite is his brother Itachi. But this favorite brother Itachi killed his parents and all the people, which made Sasuke feel a sense of betrayal. For Sasuke, who is still young, the so-called family, the life and death of those who are basically unfamiliar, has no real sense. What he really cares about is the death of his parents and the betrayal of his brother. At this moment, I heard that Itachi had a hard time doing all this. He was like a drowning man grabbing the last straw, wanting to get the last glimmer of hope from Naruto. Facing Sasuke's expectant look, Naruto continued without hesitation. Only this time, there was an unconscious coldness in his words. You should have heard about it. I am called the Nine-Tails Demon Fox by the people in the village. The reason for this is that my body is sealed with a known Nine-Tails Demon Fox. But he has a very good relationship with me, and he has the ability to perceive maliciousness with 100% accuracy, and he can distinguish between good and evil a person has towards himself. When I faced Itachi the other night, I found that he did not have any malicious intent towards me. This is inconsistent with his attempt to kill me, so I think he has difficulties. The reason why he treats you like that is to create the illusion that Sharingan doesn't kill you just for your sake, so as to protect you. In addition to the perception of good and evil, there are two other reasons that support this conclusion. One of them is that besides Itachi who slaughtered the Uchiha clan that night, there was another owner of Mangekyo Sharingan wearing a mask. This masked man was the culprit in the Nine Tails attack on the village about 8 years ago. He had enmity with Konoha. It is likely that he used your life as a threat to force Itachi to do such a bad thing. Quote. Having said that, after a pause, Naruto continued. To sum up, your brother Itachi is probably looking for a skin with a tiger and is fighting to protect your safety. When Sasuke heard this, he had already believed in Naruto's words, which made his whole life come alive, and he was no longer as lifeless as before. He looked at Naruto expectantly, looking forward to getting more news about Itachi from him. In order to prove that what he said was true, Naruto also used Kurama's chakra to link Sasuke's chakra, and shared with him the villagers' sense of Naruto. The overwhelming malice made Sasuke, who was a little numb at the moment, couldn't help feeling cold. At this time, he realized that what kind of life his friend usually leads is even more unfortunate than the misfortune he imagined. What is this? These people. An empathetic anger emerged from his heart, and Sasuke couldn't help gritting his teeth. At this moment, he even forgot the news about Itachi that he most wanted to know. Compared to Sasuke's anger, Naruto had a habit of indifference. He disconnected from Sasuke's chakra and continued to tell the third news about Itachi. The third news is also related to Itachi. You already know the prerequisites, but the conclusion you reached is completely opposite. That is, Itachi is actually a person who pursues strength without compromise, and he really left you to obtain stronger pupil power. Don't rush to refute. There is no shortage of schizophrenic patients in this world who say I love you while wielding a butcher knife without hesitation. Itachi does not rule out the possibility of being such a person. So your situation is very dangerous, you may face life-threatening at any time in the future. Sasuke's eager mood just now calmed down abruptly. The thoughts in his mind went back and forth, and he thought a lot at this moment. After a while, he raised his head and struggled to get up regardless of the pain on his body. He looked at Naruto with a firm expression. Naruto, no matter what he is thinking in his heart, whether he has difficulties, or is he really just pursuing stronger pupil power, I must become stronger. Only by becoming stronger can I stand in front of Itachi. If he has troubles, then I will help him solve the masked man. If he is only pursuing pure pupil power, then I will kill him, kill the masked man again, and avenge his parents and people. So, help me, Naruto, I want to be stronger. After speaking, Sasuke stretched out his hand to Naruto. Good. Naruto took Sasuke's hand and looked at the cheering friend. He finally smiled. Looking at the white-haired Jonin from a distance, although it was a bit regretful that he didn't hear what the two teenagers were talking about, but seeing the smiles on the faces of the two teenagers, he knew that he was probably all right. It's great. Time, it is already a week later. Although Sasuke has a clear understanding of his future goals, this does not change the fact that he was weak after being beaten by Naruto in Tsukuyomi. After another week in the hospital, Sasuke was allowed to be discharged. He assigned a shadow clone to class, and then couldn't wait to pull Naruto to start practicing. The place of practice has been changed, and the training ground that Naruto often used has been destroyed before. This time the two moved to a waterfall not far from there. Since you want to become stronger, the intensity of practice can no longer be as arbitrary as before. Under the waterfall, Naruto and Sasuke stand opposite each other. Facing Naruto's serious look, Sasuke had already realized his consciousness. His identity was no longer the same as yesterday. He was already an Avenger, and he couldn't be as heartless as before. Sasuke's previous practice can't be said to be hard work. Under the drive of Naruto, the rhythm of his practice is at least 3 times stronger than his previous practice. This is why he can go directly to Shwanguyu with an eye open. Sharingan's opening requires strong emotional stimulation, but the degree to which it can be opened for the first time depends on its own strength, at least if the body can withstand such a powerful blood inheritance limit. Sasuke has not only seen the power of Naruto, but also experienced it firsthand. As a strong friend, Sasuke is willing to trust him unconditionally. Please help me make a practice plan, Sasuke answered seriously. Hearing what Sasuke said, Naruto took out a scroll full of words and gave it to him. This was prepared by Naruto for Sasuke while he was in hospital. It records various step-by-step physical training, as well as various training methods for chakra manipulation. In the past, Sasuke had family guidance, and occasionally secretly learned from him. There was no need for Naruto to worry, but now that he has asked for help, Naruto naturally put out his best efforts. You must strictly follow the plan. You are an elite of the Uchiha clan. Chakra is born at least 10 times stronger than ordinary people. Although it is not as good as me, it must be able to withstand this intensity of practice. Don't worry about your body's recovery problem. I will let Kurama refine the pure yang attribute chakra to help you heal and restore your body, so you stick to the policy of practicing as long as you don't die. Oh, by the way, remember to use shadow clone, experiment with your own limits one by one, don't divide too much at once, I will practice by the side, and ask me if you have any questions. Having said that, Naruto patted Sasuke's shoulder and stuffed the pure yang attribute chakra refined by Kurama with no impurities into his body, waiting for his body to recover when he was injured. Then he went aside and started his own practice. Boom. The smoke exploded and a piece of shadow clone appeared. Naruto's body naturally continues high-intensity intensive physical training with weights. And half of those shadow clone continue to practice the nature transformation practice of the wind attribute chakra. This practice is endless and can improve chakra's control ability almost unlimitedly. After completing a kind of practice, you can challenge the more difficult practice. Other shadow clones are manipulating the airflow to exercise their flying ability. The training for flying in the previous year or so was very effective, which also allowed Naruto to accumulate and gain the ability to fly on the night when Uchiha was extinct. But this kind of flight is very rough, simply described as vigorously performing miracles, forcibly manipulating the airflow to lift one's body into the air. Therefore, when flying, it is accompanied by strong winds and flying sand and rocks. It looks terrifying, but it is a waste of power. In Naruto's expectation, when this ability reaches the perfect point, he can fly silently without wasting a single cent of his power, flying consumes less, and flying faster. In order to do this, in addition to continuing to improve chakra's handling ability, it is also necessary to practice more. Naruto began to concentrate on his practice. After reading the contents of the scroll, Sasuke began to prepare according to the scroll, first putting a load on himself. Then separate the shadow clone practice chakra control ability, from the most basic tree climbing and treading water to the charcoal he has been doing for a long time before, the same familiarity, testing the limit of the number of shadow clone you can withstand. And he himself, like Naruto, started high-intensity physical training as long as he did not die. As soon as Tenten passed, 1 year and 3 months had passed in an instant. Every day Sasuke has a hard time, but the increase in strength is also visible to the naked eye. And just as Sasuke and Naruto are practicing hard every day, a series of changes have also taken place in the entire Konoha village. The news that the Uchiha clan was destroyed caused a huge earthquake across the ninja world. The villagers in the village talked a lot, because Uchiha, the unpleasant police force, was celebrated by the genocide. Sasuke occasionally went to the street to buy things and felt gloat and mercy, not to mention these trivial things. In the ninja realm, the other four big powers that are also known as Konoha also sent out spies to try out, wanting to know what happened. Cloud Shinobi even Chen soldiers at the border, the war is almost on the verge of breaking out. Fortunately, Konoha made a timely response. Jiraiya, one of Sannin, appeared at the border and summoned a huge toad summoning, which greatly shocked the rest of the Shinobu village who was about to move. A war was temporarily eliminated. So, after 3 months, the settled third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen finally breathed a sigh of relief and got the mood to pay attention to some small things in the village. In the forest not far from the waterfall, third Hokage and Jiraiya stood side by side, watching Naruto and Sasuke who were practicing under the waterfall, and Jonin Kakashi, the white hair who applied to protect and monitor Naruto, was accompanied by them. Is that Minato's child? It's really like his father, the same face, the same genius. Jiraiya looked at Naruto and couldn't help showing nostalgia and relief. Kakashi on the side did not speak, but his expression was also relieved. It seemed that he had been infected by Naruto. After knowing and applying to protect him, he, who was too lazy to practice, found the motivation to become stronger again. The kid Naruto really worked hard. Sarutobi Hiruzen also smiled. Old man, I want to take Naruto away, and teach him personally, so that he can't let him go. Again, Jiraiya made this request to Sarutobi Hiruzen. He is an experienced ninja, and it can be seen that Naruto is already extremely powerful both physically and chakra because of his outstanding talent. But these things that he has practiced are all very basic things. Although he has been improving, this does not make him a truly powerful ninja. In response to this, Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head firmly. 8 years ago, shortly after the Nine Tails chaos passed. After hearing the news, Jiraiya hurried back to Konoha, first to prevent Konoha from being taken advantage of by outsiders, and second, because he learned that his disciple Minato also left a child named Naruto. At that time, Jiraiya also wanted to take Naruto away and raise him personally. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen as Hokage took the initiative to take this responsibility and promised to take care of Naruto with Jiraiya. And Jiraiya was busy chasing Orochimaru, who had just been sentenced to the village, and was also in the trust of his teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen, so he didn't get too entangled in the custody of Naruto. After confirming that there was no problem in the village for the time being, Jiraiya hurriedly left. After that, Jiraiya sought out information for the village while searching for Orochimaru's traces in the ninja world. Occasionally, I received photos of Naruto from the third generation. I saw that Naruto was growing up healthy, and I was very relieved of his life and continued my life in the ninja world. However, this time, because the Uchiha clan was destroyed and almost triggered a war in the ninja world, Jiraiya had to show up and end his leisurely life. Then, at the invitation of the ninja from the same village, he returned to Konoha's long-lost hometown with enthusiasm. When I first saw Naruto, Jiraiya noticed that Naruto's personal image was well organized. He was tall and healthy. He felt that he was doing well as shown in the photo. Then, under observation, Naruto's house was also clean and tidy. He had regular meals for 3 meals a day, and he ate a lot. He also got along well with people at school and treated people kindly and courteously. Just let Jiraiya confirm this, Naruto is indeed doing well. To be able to teach Naruto so well, his teacher third Hokage should have spent a lot of thought. Only afterwards, he habitually went to the red light district to drink flowers and wine to inquire about intelligence, only to realize that things were not as simple as what he had seen. Hidden in Naruto's seemingly organized life is the isolation and indifference from the entire village, even his living expenses, which he sells charcoal and obtains food support in the wild. As third Hokage's Sarutobi Hiruzen, there are many ways to ensure that Naruto will live the life he deserves as the son of a hero, but he still falls into this situation. If it weren't for Naruto's early wisdom, he could take care of himself, but now I don't know what it looks like. Jiraiya usually doesn't want to think too much, but it doesn't mean he is stupid. In the face of Naruto's situation, he can easily analyze it. This is his teacher, who wants to let Jinchuriki master in his hands. Jinchuriki is isolated in the village. Only him, Hokage, is his only warmth, so he will naturally want to get close to him and naturally become a force to support Hokage. For this reason, he never told Naruto who his parents were, and even the property left by his parents was never known to Naruto, allowing him to lead a life that was worse than ordinary orphans in the village. Naruto in this kind of environment is so distressing. So, even if Jiraiya doesn't want to take a child at this moment, he still can't tolerate Naruto's continued stay in the village to endure such cold violence. This is why he has to take his teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen to the Naruto practice site. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen still refused. At this moment, Jinchuriki's mind has not yet grown up, and the bond with the village is not deep enough. At least he has to stay in school until he graduates and becomes Genin. Jinchuriki is the power that must be held by the master in Hokage's hands. Although Jiraiya is close to Jinchuriki's status and strength, Sarutobi Hiruzen does not want to let go. Unless Jiraiya becomes Hokage. Obviously, Jiraiya does not want to be Hokage, and Sarutobi Hiruzen at this moment does not mean to hand over power to his disciple. At this moment, Jiraiya was disappointed with his teacher. "I'm leaving, old man, I hope you will be alive next time you come back." He sighed with excitement, and even gave up his intention to meet Naruto in the first place. What happened when I saw it? He could not go against the will of Sarutobi Hiruzen as Hokage's teacher. He could not change anything. He could not teach Naruto ninjutsu, and he would not even be allowed to give Naruto some life support. It's not as good as it didn't appear in his life from the beginning. After that, he turned and left, as if he hadn't been here since the beginning. Kakashi on the side saw this and was silent. He also wanted to help Naruto, but just like Jiraiya's helplessness, he couldn't defy Hokage's will. "I can only apply to protect Naruto and watch him grow, as a way of expressing the nostalgia for the lost teacher and his wife. What's more, his departed best friend Obito, the last member of his tribe, is also here." Subconsciously, Kakashi touched his left eye. "When Naruto graduates from the ninja school, you will become the leader of him and Sasuke." It has not been long now. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Naruto and Sasuke, who were practicing by the waterfall for a while, and suddenly said. Kakashi was taken aback when he heard the words, "Are you to be the leader of the team?" Then, I couldn't help but have some expectations. "Okay," Kakashi responded with a smile. Just after the 10th birthday, in the learning space, Naruto's rare body appeared here. In front of him, there was a thick stack of test papers. At the beginning of the test paper, there is a large line, "Comprehensive Academic Test Paper." This is an exam that Naruto must go through after accumulating 100,000 credits in the learning space. The scope of the exam content is extremely broad. From history and humanities, to mathematics and physics, to philosophy, chemical geography, biomedicine, social systems, economics and finance, ninjutsu illusion principles, psychological tests, etc. Contains all the content that Naruto has learned so far in the learning space, Konoha Library, and Ninja School. According to the requirements, this paper with a total of 10,000 questions, which is almost equal to a thick book in total, is a closed book exam. Naruto must answer at least 90% of the questions correctly before it can be considered as a complete pass. There is no limit to the test time, but you must not leave halfway, otherwise it will be regarded as a failure. The next time you take the test, you will be replaced with a new test paper. At that time, if he passes the exam, the learning space will give him a mysterious reward, and at the same time teach him more esoteric content. In order to cope with this exam, Naruto divided 2 shadow clones and conducted a 1-month intensive review. Then, he has the confidence to come to the learning space and challenge this comprehensive academic test paper. In order to prevent the test from taking too long and problems in reality, Naruto also asked Kurama to help him eat and move his body. The exam lasted for 7 days and nights in a row. In the end, it proved that Naruto's 1-month intensive review and asking Kurama to help prepare for meals and activities were not in vain. Finally, the results came out. With a total score of 100,000 points, Naruto finally got a good score of 99,888 points. Was rated as excellent, passed. And the reward for the learning space came as promised, and a well-wrapped cardboard box appeared in front of Naruto. As if playing a game and killing a super difficult boss, Naruto was very excited to touch the corpse at this moment, opened the box and found that the whole box was full of books. I found a book from it, and saw a slightly familiar two-dimensional comic image drawn on its pages. There are several words written on the cover of the book. Hokage Ninja. Hokage Ninja is the word slip fruit in this book. Next to it, the lingua franca of ninja is added, which is called Japanese in another world. And English Naruto. Up to now, in order to learn better, Naruto has already mastered Chinese, Japanese and English, which are the more commonly used languages of third gate. Of course he will not mistake the words in this book. Naruto biography. At this time, Naruto finally understood why he felt that the two-dimensional image in the book would be familiar. This is the image of him after the three-dimensional transformation into the two-dimensional. However, this two-dimensional image's short height, rustic dress, and silly expression made Naruto feel extremely uncomfortable. In reality, he was just over 10 years old, but now he is 1.5 meters tall. The work is set in a ninja world. The story begins with the orphan life of the protagonist Uzumaki Naruto. In order to protect the village, 4th Hokage seals the Nine-Tails monster that attacked the village into his body. As a result, Naruto suffers from the neglect of the villagers, but desperately uses various pranks to try to attract everyone's attention. Fortunately, Mr. Iruka still cares. Naruto's character has not become distorted, he is always energetic and very optimistic. In order for more people to recognize himself, Naruto's goal is to become Hokage. The whole story revolves around Naruto's struggle and growth, Naruto's partners, and various struggles and conspiracies in this ninja world. Turning a page, Naruto felt more discomfort after seeing the introduction on the title page of the manga. Whether it is Uzumaki Naruto's extremely ridiculous dream depicted in this manga, or another fact brought about by this manga, he feels extremely uncomfortable. So, the world I live in is a manga in another world. Naruto whispered to himself without expression. Continuing to flip the manga in my hand, the formal content of the first episode began to appear. First, it tells the story of the Nine-Tails monster attacking the village, and then the picture turns to the prank manga protagonist Uzumaki Naruto. The familiar Yan Yan and the streets have confirmed Naruto's guess. The joys and sorrows that occurred in the world he lives in another world, really exist in the form of comics. Is it something that happened in my world, felt by the author of another world, and inspired this comic? Or did the other party draw this comic and then have this world? There was speculation in Naruto's heart, but at this time there was no extra thought to think about these things. He continued to flip through the comics, looking at the boy who had the same name as him, struggling to become Hokage and to be recognized by everyone in the village. Looking at the other party in a sloppy and rustic dress with goggles and orange sportswear, pranksters in the village hate dogs. The shameless use of seduction in the public, the clone technique was extremely poor, and it was impossible to pass the pediatric graduation examination of the ninja school smoothly, and was fooled by people to steal the sealed book. He broke the child, went to the bookstore to peek at H magazine and was violently beaten, went to the women's bathhouse to peep and was beaten, and described chakra as being unlearned and unskilled. After reading the first book, Naruto closed it, silently. Looking at the content throughout, Naruto only saw 2 words in it. Shame. Extremely embarrassing. However, not long after the irritation appeared, it dissipated again. At this time, Naruto thought of himself in reality, which is different from comics. If it weren't for this learning space, which taught him everything from food, clothing, housing and transportation to dealing with people and things, I'm afraid he would be no different from the boy in the comics. Lack of human supervision, and being isolated by everyone in the village. In order to attract people's attention and get recognition, they adopted the method of pranking. The result not only did not solve any problems, but it was even more disgusting. The lack of economy, coupled with the greed for convenience, eats instant noodles that are not nutritious almost all day, and I don't even know if the milk I drank has expired. Because no one is constantly urging, and it is difficult to study well in school, even the basic content of ninja-like chakra can be wrong, and even basic ninjutsu-like 3-body technique can't be practiced well. Although Kurama is causing trouble, this is not an insurmountable problem. The lack of direction is the culprit. Even because no one taught the correct view of right and wrong, he didn't even know that stealing the sealed book was a capital offense. Under the casual flick of others, he did it without hesitation. In addition, she doesn't even know her self-esteem and self-love. Girls obviously don't like herself, and they stalk their faces. Apart from being annoying, there will be no results. Such a character and low wisdom, if it weren't for Jinchuriki's identity, I don't know how many times he would have died a long time ago. Hehe, third generation, Naruto sneered. At this time, Naruto finally understood why it was clear that third Hokage was the only person in his life who brought him warmth, but he couldn't get close to him from the bottom of his heart. Obviously, third generation is a person who cared about himself since he was a child, but his relationship with him is not as good as that of a fox he just got acquainted with. Because of my instinct, I felt the other side's hidden scrutiny and defense from the other side's seemingly kind cheeks. Perhaps his care for himself is not fake, but it is more of an unpleasant guard. Naruto at this moment, it is not difficult to guess that what caused him to be in such a difficult situation is precisely because of the so-called third-generation grandpa, who looks amiable. Although the content of this first volume does not talk about his life experience too much, Naruto has already read out what he wants to know from the details and some information he usually knows. My father is 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. If that is the case, then I am so similar to his looks, and I am justified as Kurama's Jinchuriki. It's no wonder that Naruto in the comics is so mischievous, doing a lot of things that ordinary ninjas do that would be jailed for introspection, but he didn't receive any punishment. If Naruto is the orphan of 4th Hokage, then it is only natural to be condoned. In this situation of being isolated by the entire village, as Jinchuriki, only 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen can be close. Naruto didn't read the manga anymore. He took all the manga books out of the box and found the Hokage Ninja anime version in a memory card, as well as all the theatrical versions. Slightly flipping through the books, Naruto found the manga on the cover marked with Father and Mother, Uzumaki Naruto's life experience. Then, with a move of mind, he arrived in the sealed space. In the sealed space, Kurama lay on the sofa and watched the show as always. Watching Tiga Ultraman, a behemoth fighting with a height of tens of hundreds of meters, is more immersive to Kurama. The little fox, whose body remained half-human, sensed the arrival of Naruto and deliberately paused. Turning his head, he greeted Naruto who was standing not far from the sofa. Yo, Naruto, the exam is over. How are the results? Speaking of which, Kurama and Naruto have not seen each other for 7 days. Since the two people met in sealed space for the first time, they have been with each other every day, but it is the first time they have not seen each other for so long. Seeing Naruto's expressionless face, he was obviously in a bad mood. Did the exam fail? Kurama's thoughts turned, and he comforted. Don't be discouraged, Naruto, if you fail this exam, there will be another one. Don't you often say that persistent efforts are the basis for success? Come on. Naruto shook his head and said, I passed the exam and got very good grades. I got 99,888 points. In response to Kurama's puzzled eyes, Naruto continued, Kurama, you said that 4th Hokage died in your hands, right? Upon hearing this, Kurama's expression on his face became slightly stiff. This kid, who never cared about these problems before, suddenly asked this, did he know something? However, Kurama was mentally prepared for this day. Without saying much, he propped up from the sofa, and then stretched out his fist towards Naruto. Since you want to know, then tell you all the truth, including what I thought at the time, and then leave everything to your own choice. With two punches facing each other, Naruto felt the scene change and appeared in a forest. Once again, I took over Kurama's memory and turned into a huge orange nine-tails fox. Although lonely in the forest, he lived freely. Although in the long life, every human being who saw him had fear, but they also lived peacefully. Until a man with long dark hair and a fan embroidered on his clothes suddenly appeared, breaking the calm. Be my strength, Nine Tails. The man named Uchiha Madara announced in a high-pitched tone that a pair of dark pupils suddenly turned blood red, using the pupil power of Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. After that, Kurama lost control of his body. From the perspective of a bystander, he witnessed the forced signing of the summoning contract with Uchiha Madara, becoming his summoning beast, and then following the whole process of the opponent fighting with a man named Senju Hashirama. Kurama is very unwilling. He is not willing to fight for a human who regards him as a lower-class beast and uncontrollable disaster. It's just that Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is too strong, even Kurama can't get rid of it even if he tries his best. In the end, this man named Uchiha Madara was defeated by Senju Hashirama. And Kurama, who joined the battle as a summoning beast, was also languished by Senju Hashirama's super big move on top of the Buddha. The battle process is as simple as a human beating a weak kitten. I thought that this bad experience was over. Unexpectedly, the human named Senju Hashirama, who ravaged Kurama as a cat, said to him, "Your power is too strong. You need a seal." Then, regardless of Kurama's wishes, he was sealed in his body by a woman named Uzumaki Mito, and since then he has lived a miserable life in which Isshin is closed in a small black house without hearing anything outside the window. The skills are not as good as others, even if Kurama is full of resentment, he cannot change this fate. Decades later, Uzumaki Mito will end his life. Kurama is looking forward to the death of the other person. As long as he can get out of trouble and escape from such a tragic little black house life, it doesn't matter if he followed his death last time. The human world is too dangerous to hide in the deep mountains and old forests from now on. Unexpectedly, he was removed from Uzumaki Mito's body again and sealed in the body of a little girl named Uzumaki Kushina. This little girl named Uzumaki Kushina has inherited the usual arrogance of human beings and has no willingness to communicate with him. She uses a powerful sealing technique to restrain his body and extract his power all day long. Fortunately, the strength of this little girl is a lot worse than the previous Jinchuriki. Nine Tails can also release some perceptions, observe the human world, and make her life less boring. As the years passed, Kurama watched the little girl who restrained herself grew up and gradually became a girl. Although Kurama didn't understand why this woman named Uzumaki Kushina had to add more powerful sealing techniques to block her perception every night, but time passed by Tenten. She had someone she liked, married a man named Namikaze Minato, formed a family, and had a child. On the day that the child was born, it was tied tightly as always. Today, Kurama has not even bothered to think about struggling. Perhaps this life of being locked up in a small black house will last forever, right? Then, that day, the pupil power he hated appeared. The man with the mask borrowed the summoning contract with Uchiha Madara, and Mangekyo Sharingan controlled him, pulling him out of Jinchuriki Uzumaki Kushina's body. He was controlled to wreak havoc in Konoha village, unable to refuse Sharingan's pupil power, and did not want to refuse. Then, he was transferred to the outside of the village by the man named Namikaze Minato, who had become fourth Hokage, and was locked again by a woman named Uzumaki Kushina with adamantine sealing chains. Jinchuriki, who was removed from the tail beast, must die, even though she once again restrained herself as the tail beast before dying, she couldn't change the ending. Because she didn't know that as long as he was sealed back as the tail beast, he would be saved. And even if she knew that with her weak body at the moment, she couldn't bear all the power of Kurama. Kushina wanted to use the last chakra to seal Kurama into the body of her newly born child. The man named Namikaze Minato loves his wife very much, and he doesn't want to live alone at the moment. In order to allow his wife to see his son when he grows up, he uses a taboo-level seal technique called ghoul sealing. Sacrificed the soul to Shinigami, and divided Kurama into yin and yang. Then the half of the yang attribute was sealed in the body of his son Naruto, and the remaining half of the yin attribute was taken into Shinigami's belly along with Namikaze Minato's soul. Namikaze Minato hopes that his son can survive as the hero of the village, and this half of Kurama's power is the guarantee he left for his children. Only in the end, it backfired. Naruto did not live as the son of the hero who saved the village, as fourth Hokage thought. Instead, it became the incarnation of the demon fox that destroyed the village and caused great harm in people's mouth, and became the object of everyone shouting and beating. As third Hokage's Sarutobi Hiruzen, Naruto's identity can be announced to break these rumors. But he didn't do that. In order to keep Jinchuriki firmly in his hands, he chose to let it go. Kurama saw all this in Naruto's body. Although all this was caused by his existence, he did not feel any guilt, but felt very happy. Jinchuriki's hatred will arouse his chakra, and will continue to erode the seal, and sooner or later he will break free from this seal. When he gets out of this seal, the Jinchuriki kid who bound him, including the other humans, must die. This thought continued until Naruto was 4 years old. In the sealed space, one person and one fox met for the first time. Kurama thought he could easily fool the young Jinchuriki Naruto. But he did not expect that this kid was beyond his imagination and tenacity. Not only was he not tempted to degenerate, but relying on his own reason to completely restrain himself from the negative influence of his chakra. It was also on this day that Kurama was treated equally by a human for the first time, not a beast inferior to humans. Since that day, they will meet every day, watching TV together, chatting together, and commenting on the content of the plot that I have watched today. Although Naruto, the kid is very bad, he only shows him 2 episodes a day to make him appetite, but in the process, the relationship between one person and one fox finally became familiar. Kurama's guard against Naruto was gradually put down during the process. He was no longer confronting Naruto, and converged himself to interfere with the operation of Naruto chakra and erode the sealed chakra. Although he still hated all humans, he started to like Naruto from the bottom of his heart. As he once said, Naruto's father, 4th Hokage, died in his hands. Although even without him, Naruto's parents would die. Although they were hostile at that time, it was normal for him to make any choices. But at this moment, he and Naruto have become close friends after all, and in Kurama's heart, he still cares about Naruto's opinion very much. Therefore, he told Naruto the truth about all these things, and wanted to eliminate this gap. After disconnecting from Kurama's chakra link, Naruto was silent. At this moment, his emotions are extremely complicated. He ignored Kurama, who was looking at him worriedly, and compared to the memory he got from Kurama, he began to look through the comics in his hand. It was just as he thought. He was really 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato's child, the child of the hero who sacrificed to protect the village. Even he himself was a hero who sealed the 9-tails demon fox and made a great contribution to protecting the village. And what kind of treatment has he received over the years? Hee. Naruto had a gloomy smile on Naruto's face. For this kind of village, it is better to destroy it. The father and mother actually gave their lives to protect this village. It really feels worthless for your sacrifice. At this moment, he thought of all the things he had endured since childhood, the murderous intent and hatred of the villagers that hated him, and the indifference formed by the extreme denial of his existence. These incompetent adults, because of the fear in their hearts, kept angering him who had done nothing wrong. And the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had promised his mother Uzumaki Kushina, who was supposed to take good care of him and raised him, was the most direct culprit. All of this caused the killing intent in Naruto's heart to continue to grow. At this moment, Kurama's power was madly extracted by Naruto unconsciously, and a red 9-tails chakra code appeared on his body, 1 tail, 3 tails, 5 tails. The tail keeps increasing, and the craziness contained in Kurama chakra also increases crazily. It's just that Naruto doesn't seem to feel it at this moment. Even though the number of tails had increased to 7, his expression remained cold, without any change. Are you okay, Naruto? At this time, Kurama couldn't sit still anymore. Naruto like this made him feel extremely strange, and he felt a little heart palpitations just by looking at it. It was as if the darkness accumulated in Naruto's heart over the years was released at this moment. The former Kurama looked forward to this change in Naruto, but at this moment he was very worried that he would lose his mind and do something that he would regret later. I'm fine, of course I'm fine now. With a brush of the tail, it increased to 8. The gloom on Naruto's face disappeared temporarily, and he smiled at Kurama next to him, reassuring him. However, this did not make Kurama feel at ease, on the contrary, he felt even more uneasy. Naruto disappeared briefly and went to the study space. When he came back, he already had an extra box in his hand, the one that contained all the Hokage ninja manga and anime. At this moment, the tail on his body is about to increase to the 9th. The door that represents the seal of Kurama has already begun to crack continuously with the cooperation of the crazy Kurama chakra and Naruto's own chakra. Shadow clone technique. A dense cluster of avatars appeared, each holding a Hokage ninja, and quickly flipping through them. For the rest, I moved hundreds of playback devices to the learning space, then opened the Hokage Ninja anime, and started watching 720 episodes of anime at the same time. Kurama, I'm really fine, come and watch it with me. At this time, Naruto seemed to regain his former calm and rationality. There was a gentle smile on his face. If it weren't for the red nine-tails chakra coat that had begun to transform into a golden body, it would be no different in normal times. Naruto, what are you doing? Calm down and stop. An anxious voice sounded, and a figure appeared in front of Naruto the next moment. As soon as he appeared, he directly pressed his hand to Naruto's lower abdomen, trying to reinforce the seal. Naruto raised his hand, holding the hand that was about to press on his stomach. Naruto looked at the man with the same blonde hair as him. There was a little excitement on his face, and his voice softly replied, I'm very calm, father, I took the initiative to let Kurama come out. He and I are friends. It won't hurt me. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.